Court of Appeal issued a decision unanimously acquitting and discharging Sedina Atieno Tamaklo, who was convicted of various offenses in absentia because, she was standing trial, and in the course of the trial, she sought permission to travel abroad for medical reasons and then remain in the United States for the rest of the trial. The trial court convicted her of the offenses charged, and then an appeal was filed by her lawyers in May 2024. I want this to be made abundantly clear that it was my predecessor who filed the appeal. However, coming into office, I reviewed what was filed, and I directed the Director of Public Prosecutions to file opposing the appeal, because we believe that the High Court judgment had merit. Now, with this judgment, I've also directed the Director of Public Prosecutions to file a notice of appeal and apply for stay of execution, meaning that if the stay is granted, the status quo will prevail until such a time that the Supreme Court has had time to review the appeal and then made a determination. So that is all that I can say for now. I have a soft copy of the judgment. I'm yet to peruse it and then come to a firm conclusion as to what will be our grounds of appeal. But I want to emphasize that I believe that the judgment of the High Court had merit, and that the United States District Court that extradited her to Ghana had a basis for making a determination that she was the proper subject for extradition.
That's the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Akuritinge Ayeni, earlier this week, directing the Director of Public Prosecutions to file a notice of appeal at the Supreme Court against the Court of Appeal's decision to acquit and discharge the former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, that's MASLOC, Ms. Sedina Christine Tamaklo Atieno. That directive has been carried out, and as we do know, it's taken different shapes at least in the last 48 hours. Now, this decision by the Court of Appeal has been a subject of conversation, and that is why we're delving into the key issues this morning as a result of this particular decision of the Court of Appeal played out, and also this earlier communication by the former Attorney General, Minister of Justice, Godfred Yeboah Dame, about when the appeal was first filed by Sedina Tamaklo Atieno's lawyers. But what exactly did the Court of Appeal say? What was the judgment? What exactly was the ruling against this conviction and sentencing, that 10-year prison sentence slapped on Sedina Tamaklo in 2024? Why was she acquitted and discharged? What will be the chance of the Attorney General's appeal and stay of execution, as has been filed, being successful or not? As we do know now, the Attorney General is very clear in his mind that the charges have merit, as you heard him say. And that's the conviction he has and reason why he is going on an appeal. We'll have a conversation this morning here on The Key Point. Also, the Supreme Court of Ghana declared the delegate system used by political parties to elect presidential and parliamentary candidates as unconstitutional. Now, this is a landmark ruling. A 5-2 majority decision delivered by the courts ruled that the long-standing system violates democratic principles, ordered all political parties who practice this delegate system to ensure every registered card-bearing member participates in presidential and parliamentary primaries. That is the ruling. Now, this brings to an end, effectively, decades of internal party elections conducted by just a limited number of delegates, people who identified as delegates. And this was filed by former Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, veteran politician, founder of the MPP, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, and former Minister for Lands and Forestry, Dr. Christina Mwakonyama. These were the plaintiffs in this case. Well, guess what? The Constitutional Review Committee, this government white paper, or the government position paper that was read and issued this week by the minister in charge, that's the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, captures this particular ruling by the Supreme Court and supports it. So it is one that goes beyond what just has happened in court, but also become a constitutional recommendation supported by government. But what are the political parties saying? They are the ones who are directly impacted by this. A number of them have disagreed, and it would not achieve the intended purpose. The execution of this particular judgment will be problematic. That's what some of the political parties are saying. Even though government effectively supports this judgment or the ruling by the Supreme Court on this matter of the delegate system, some persons within the ruling government, they don't agree. They have spoken openly and publicly about their opposition to doing away with this delegate system. We'll have a conversation on this. Plus, earlier in the week as well, the judgment by the Supreme Court on the prosecutorial powers of the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, and exactly what the AG, the Attorney General, can do and cannot do. Does it effectively answer the question of whether or not the Office of Special Prosecutor is independent and has prosecutorial powers to pursue corruption and corruption-related offenses? That finds its way as well into some of the recommendations in that Constitutional Review Committee and the government position paper presented by the Attorney General this week. We will have a conversation on the key point. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. My guests will join me. The conversation, quite a lot on the table, will start right now after this quick break. My name is Alfred Okanse. Welcome. We're live on 3FM 92.7 and a number of radio stations across the country, including Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and W93.5, and also a number of radio stations across the country and beyond on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London and Voice of London television as well, and TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on YouTube. As always, it's brought to you by GASEM, is the nation builder. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. We will be back shortly. Stay with us.
Record a private video of yourself for your lover and accidentally post it on your work group chat. What would you do?
I'll call a meeting, ask everybody to delete it because it was a mistake.
I'm gonna do best. It's harder than it looks. Elevia Olakeia. What is the basic ingredient for cooking spaghetti bolognese?
Water.
Hey, madam, how many times did you flip that one? He's a 10 or she's a 10, but she doesn't like bathing.
You do not bathing, you are not a 10.
Fly like an airplane, F up every place and everybody know we born great. Them take me down to me.
Just As Tonight shows on Saturdays at 8 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Darling XYZ Wine. Darling Drink.
Ghana's Most Beautiful celebrates 20 years of culture, grace, and legacy
You are warmly invited to an exclusive launch, gala and fundraiser for a legacy project, an unforgettable evening shared with our cherished partners, distinguished past queens, and the remarkable individuals who have shaped this extraordinary journey over the years. Join us at 8 p.m. sharp at Adisa Pavilion within the prestigious Labadi Beach Hotel on 2nd August 2026. The red carpet opens at 6 p.m. Come for the elegance, stay for the purpose, be part of the legacy. Ghana's most beautiful 20 years of culture, grace and legacy. This event is strictly by invitation.
Brought to you by
Gino Pomo Tomato Mix,
GTP, Kivo Gari 4-in-1 Mix, and Kivo Hot Pepper. Obwasib Numna Wumwankasa.
Incaress by NK Pharma.
Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil.
Newcomer Blood Tonic and Gastron from Ernest Chemist.
Fratelli Calipo. Dragnet.
Global Wings Travel and Tour,
Lady Fort.
Vitamilk,
Vigatem.
In a world full of noise, clarity matters. Stories shape us, ideas challenge us. An honest dialogue moves us forward. This is a space for depth, where voices are heard and perspectives matter. Conversations with Dr. Abnanya Kwasmini, coming soon on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
The world around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now.
Season 4 officially begins. We open our house.
Parental control helps you manage what your kids can watch. Open settings and select parental control. Enable the feature and create a 4-digit PIN. Choose the maximum content rating you're comfortable with. Any content above this rating will require the PIN. Restricted titles appear locked across the app. Trying to play restricted content prompts for the PIN. Correct entry unlocks access for that session. Multiple incorrect attempts can temporarily lock access. Parental control on Adisa Plus. Available now. Adisa Plus. Safe streaming your way. Adisa Plus parental control helps you.
Ghana's most beautiful celebrates 20 years of culture, grace and legacy. You are warmly invited to an exclusive launch, gala and fundraiser for a legacy project, an unforgettable evening shared with our cherished partners, distinguished past queens, and the remarkable individuals who have shaped this extraordinary journey over the years. Join us at 8 p.m. sharp at Adisa Pavilion within the prestigious Labadi Beach Hotel on 2nd August 2026. The red carpet opens at 6 p.m. Come for the elegance, stay for the purpose, be part of the legacy. Ghana's most beautiful 20 years of culture, grace, and legacy. This event is strictly by invitation.
Brought to you by
Gino Pomo Tomato Mix,
GTP, Kivo Gari 4-in-1 Mix, and Kivo Hot Pepper. Obwasidnum na wumwankasa.
Incaress by NK Pharma.
Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil.
Newcomer Blood Tonic and Gastron from Ernest Chemist.
Fratelli Calipo. Dragnet.
Global Wings Travel and Tour.
Lady Fort.
Vitamilk.
Vigatem.
You record a private video of yourself for your lover and accidentally post it on your work group chat. What would you do?
I'll call a meeting, ask everybody to delete it because it was a mistake.
I'm gonna do best. It's harder than it looks. Elevia Olakeia. What is the basic ingredient for cooking spaghetti bolognese?
Water.
Hey, madam, how many times should you flip that one? He's a 10 or she's a 10, but she doesn't like bathing.
You do not bathing, you are not a 10.
Fly like an airplane, F up every place and everybody know we born great. Them take me down to me.
Just as tonight, shows on Saturdays at 8 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Darling XYZ Wine. Darling Drink.
The Key Points is brought to you by Bank of Africa, GASM.
The Court of Appeal issued a decision unanimously acquitting and discharging Serina Atienu Tamakulu, who was convicted of various offenses in absentia because, she was standing trial, and in the course of the trial, she sought permission to travel abroad for medical reasons and then remain in the United States for the rest of the trial. The trial court convicted her of the offenses charged, and then an appeal was filed by her lawyers in May 2024. I want this to be made abundantly clear that it was my predecessor who filed the appeal. However, coming into office, I reviewed what was filed, And I directed the Director of Public Prosecutions to file opposing the appeal, because we believe that the High Court judgment had merit. Now, with this judgment, I've also directed the Director of Public Prosecutions to file a notice of appeal and apply for stay of execution, meaning that if the stay is granted, the status quo will prevail until such a time that the Supreme Court has had time to review the appeal and then made a determination. So that is all that I can say for now. I have a soft copy of the judgment. I'm yet to peruse it and then come to a firm conclusion as to what will be our grounds of appeal. But I want to emphasize that I believe that the judgment of the High Court had merit, and that the United States District Court that extradited her to Ghana had a basis for making a determination that she was the proper subject for extradition.
Sedna was convicted on very credible evidence and all, and he conducted the appeal to find out from the current attorney general what he feels about the acquittal of Sedna and why Sedna was acquitted. I don't know why she was acquitted. So find out from the current attorney general why that happened.
But
and what he feels. Yes, and Sedna actually absconded after she had actually been confronted with the evidence led by the prosecution. It was not for nothing.
The Court of Appeal issued a decision unanimously acquitting and discharging Sedina Atieno Tamaklo, who was convicted of various offenses in absentia because, she was standing trial, and in the course of the trial, she sought permission to travel abroad for medical reasons and then remain in the United States for the rest of the trial. The trial court convicted her of the offenses charged, and then an appeal was filed by her lawyers in May 2024. I want this to be made abundantly clear that it was my predecessor who filed the appeal. However, coming into office, I reviewed what was filed, and I directed the Director of Public Prosecutions to file opposing the appeal.
Welcome back to Keep On TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the City of London, Voice of London Television, as always brought to you by Bank of Africa and GASEM. And my guest joining us in the studio already, you know exactly what we're going to be getting into with what you've just heard the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Akuritingi-Ayeni, put out there. Sedina Tamaklo Atieno. Martin Pebu is private legal practitioner and a member of the oral preparatory team. They've done their work and they are watching closely how the oral cases are playing out. He's joining us in the studio. Counsel, good morning.
Yeah, morning, Mr. Kansi. Morning. It's good to be here as usual on Ghana's #1 show. We are unstoppable, unbeatable, unshakable, and all the and. Yeah, it's good. And thank you to the people of Ghana. The program is yours. Without you, we have no program, right? It's your feedback, your corrections, etc. Especially recent times, Dr. Eric Akwesi-Amankwa, my good friend.
Perfect.
You say, Council, pass here, pass there. Thank you very much. And Noche Usumanche. Noche Usumanche. Yes, thank you. This smart lawyer, very smart. Thank you. So the other rituals, as usual, I want to thank Yasantuas of Kufu, Osiadeyo Ajimabedu the second, Gamanche Kintaki Kuchu the second, and then Togbi Apede. Yes, thank you for standing tall. Oh, I have to add my good friend Nana Ansako. Yes, Nana Sakwa, of Joy FM. You know, he also, I remember those days, some of the programs he did, then the Kufuor officers would call him, what is this? What is this? Why are you making us so unpopular? You know, so the people of Ghana, look, we need to be courageous. We need to reflect the name of Ghana, right? Ghana means the warrior king. So the way we deal with our politicians, do we show that we are warriors ourselves? Because how do you have a full country called the warrior kings, mean that we are warriors, and yet we are so timid. We don't want to tell the politicians the truth. We can't build a nation without speaking the truth, right? Yes. And men above 40, please do the prostate check. Those who pee by the roadside and generally in public, please, let's put a stop to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Martin Pebo, what's the hat? This one?
Fedora.
It's also another version of Fedora.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One who doesn't wear a hat, but you know, it also has its own style.
Exactly.
Joining us in the studio this morning.
Baumia supporter, Baumia junior.
let me do the job. Kofi Bento is private legal practitioner and vice president of Imani Africa. Mr. Bento, good morning.
Good morning, Alfred. I don't have a constituency voting for me, so greetings to all the people who listen to you, and I wish everybody well. As for this man, don't mind him. The day will come, he will vote for Bawumia, he will think something is happening. You will see. You will vote for him. When you look across and you see that he's the best choice. If you think straight.
Atufosu or Sidun Ketia, life. One of them. Okay. It would have been Haruna, but for the geography. So Haruna, you patience, we'll see. Anybody NDC put to win. This one is no brainer. You don't forgotten the damage of reactor and look, the riches, the money.
Where is your 24-hour economy?
It's there in the budget. Didn't you say that?
It's in the budget.
How many filling stations are running 24 hours now?
DVLA. Is that not going to happen?
The DVLA one kills me. The DVLA 24-hour economy kills me. So
DVLA 24. My license has been stuck in DVLA for over 1 month.
Oh, how? What happened?
You are telling me how? I paid premium. I said I should drive to Tema. That is seriously efficient, right?
Listen, stations.
The Accra offices here have gone the paid premium over 1 month. My license is stuck there.
Once in a while, some systems break
Once
down.
a while.
But generally, the DVLA one, no, to be honest.
The Cape Coast Winneba Road flooded.
Oh, I bet. The road, the construction, you mean?
Yes, we've been. If they can do 24 hours anywhere, it should be on that road.
Oh, but I mean, Atufosu says they are working on it.
It should be on the motorway. Yes. What is going on?
Yes.
2 years into the government, the people you have paid, okay, a huge need, okay, and you can't get them to work 24 hours. Laborers, contractors, and whatever, you can't do that.
Okay, so that can be taken on board. That they should do the road construction to be 24 hours.
Why not?
Oh yeah, that I accept. Why not? We are not here to praise sing.
So
no,
the time for election will come. We'll know what has been done.
But as for losing, you will lose. You know,
will see.
There's no way. There's no chance.
We're a little over 2 years away from that. What the people of Ghana will say.
Even a week is a long time in politics.
But we are still bruised. We are still damaged from the
damage for what? You did oral, and now you are freeing all your people.
DDEP.
I say you've lined up your people. Atufosu, Jakpa.
But that's fanatical. See the things Godfrey Dami was doing. Godfrey Dami is before the General Legal Council.
Gentlemen.
You see, they found a prima facie against him in the Jakpa. You see what will happen.
That does not go to the substance of the matter. I said all the knowledge prosecutions you are doing, there will be a few more coming.
One will remind Attorney General. He said he will investigate that one. He's setting up a committee. So we have been reminding Dr. Ayeni, the Sagleme one is not closed. You said you will investigate the $200 million. We want to see what they built. Have we had value for money? As for that one, we'll continue to hold you accountable. Let's have the committee and let's have independent people look into it.
In the meantime, all your people are being freed on knowledge prosecution.
Oh no, but as I said, the ethical, unethical, and the Dufour one, I supported it because it's good for us to take money. So, is that not the one Godfrey Dami wrote that it is
too much.
Illegal? He said the setting up of CBG, etc., is illegal. The cancellation of the
Don't explain too much. No, I said
it's Godfrey Dami who said
it is happening.
It's here. You have a copy, right? He gave the opinion.
By the time
he gave opinion that they shouldn't have.
By the time you are finished, We will look at your 24 hours that it didn't happen.
Oh, it's working.
You're in Kukon Kitinkiti. You
It's
spent
working.
250 million cedis so far.
It's not correct.
And we don't. What
I
is not
heard
correct?
It's not spent. It's released. It's not all that they've actually
Release.
spent.
So the chickens that they gave that people have eaten
But that's
is no
good.
money.
That's social protection.
Oh.
That's social protection.
So the Kukon Kitinkiti is for social
Those-
protection.
those ones-
Wait. The Kukon Kitinkiti. What
Part
is
of it. Part of it is social
It's for
because they
eating.
gave- Yes,
and so you
part
spend
of
250 million for people to go and chew chicken.
No, but what
When
is
you say you
wrong-
were coming to solve a 600 million,
not all
importation problem.
A few stories. The larger majority. Let's make the distinction. This story, I think, I saw the minister, or let's say, met in Eric Opoku for the first time, sometime last week, and he showed me. Those are a few. Look, let's look at this. Thousands of people. No, just wait 1 minute. Thousands of people were. Yes, 1 minute. Just one. Thousands of people were given what? Chicken. We have broilers and then we have the layers. The broilers are such that they were given to those persons at 4 weeks old, and you have the next 4 weeks to feed them and then sell. So by 8 weeks, they are ready for the market. So if you don't
It's
have
been
a buyer,
4 months.
if you don't have a buyer, what do you do?
It's
So
been
there were
4
few
months.
people who couldn't find this in sellers, and they decided to chew. Fortunately, I have the policy there. I'll go and bring it. They said as part of the Nkukon Kitinkiti, they want to stimulate local consumption of the poultry. So if you've given thousands of people and maybe 5 people have sent you videos that we are chewing them, it's normal.
You are the one explaining. See, we have
All
a
right.
600 million problem in poultry importation. This government has so far put 245 million cedis towards solving it. And because of the bad money,
it's not Ghana.
I let you talk.
It's
I beg
not Ghana.
you. Huh?
The 600 million.
I said we had a. I beg. See, in
Not
solving
Ghana.
that problem, you did in Kukon Kitinkiti. You took government money and bought the old chicks, spread it, sprinkled it all over the place to solve the chicken and poultry importation problem. And now you are telling us that people have spent the money. A few people. So as we speak, you are solving the poultry problem.
Absolutely.
We will see
Because
in 2 years.
it's in phases.
We will see in 2 years.
Exactly. So wait, but it's
Oh, yeah,
it's-
I'm for waiting.
You know me, I'm not
Time
here
does.
to
All right, gentlemen.
whitewash anything. It's
Thank
what I
you.
see.
We will see.
Thank you.
Every day,
I allow
the few people who cheat, yes, they want to use it to say
They
the
said
whole
they'll
of
give it to
Nkukon
Jesus, right?
Kitinkiti is gone.
Thank you,
Oh,
gentlemen.
it can
Thank
be.
you.
We can't
Thank
run
you.
a country.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let me.
Is it not obvious
Uh-huh.
that a program that is supposed to have given birth,
Yes.
thousands of them,
Yes.
you take one instance
As-
to undermine.
It's your minister who came to say
No,
it.
hold on.
Thank you.
I think that we've
Abba.
taken the words of the minister completely out of context.
Thank you.
The minister appreciated effort of government to do that.
Yes.
Beyond the fact, he said, look, this is government's intention to reduce the over-reliance on imported frozen chicken, among others.
Thank you.
But this is the response we are getting.
So we are reducing it.
Please.
Yes.
First of all, you see, I'm
Yes.
surprised. Wait, I'm surprised.
What's the woman
Senior-
who
my,
says
my,
Wanda?
my senior here
Okay, gentlemen.
advised.
This was just
Okay,
to start.
maybe later.
Oh,
Please.
let
This
it
was-
land. Oh.
No,
You see, my
quickly,
senior
quickly.
year had a very important role in the last this thing. He was a principal advisor to Dr.
I beg you, please.
Hold on.
Please, I beg.
On policy,
Yes.
we were told that this.
I didn't see my appointment
please,
letter.
The previous administration was doing planting for food and job. By the time we finished, we were importing even maize. That is the record.
Yeah.
So please, on our Greek, it was so abysmal. Let's give time some time.
Exactly.
And everything will become
In the next
Yes.
2 years.
We'll give
and
time some time.
Gandhi Tamaklo is the CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, is a private legal practitioner, director of legal.
Today you put
of
two
the
of my
NBC.
seniors here to
Forgive me.
intimidate me. I'll take it like that.
You this man.
Good morning.
We can't intimidate you.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
The
Oh,
CEO
this is
of another
stature.
state-owned agency is here.
Put me and these people yet can intimidate me.
Let me say that Richard Ahiagba is actually joining us right now. He is Director of Communications of the NPP and seeking to be its first national vice chair as well. Professor Ransford Jampo, there's another name in there somewhere, which we will reveal. But he is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority, and for today in the most important conversation we're going to be having as we go on the matter of this Constitutional Review Commission and also the delegate system. He's a professor of political science and also a governance expert at the University of Ghana. Professor Ransford Gyampo, good morning.
Morning, Alfred, and you put 3 lawyers here to come and do what? Me alone, I'll match all of them.
I know.
We are not governed or we are not constituted only by lawyers. And I think producers should take a look at constituting the panel for this. It's always lawyers. Is everything we discuss all about law?
It's all about
We'll match them boot for boot here on this panel.
Thank you. Professor Ransford Gyampo, thank you for joining us. And straight into the matters, as the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, put out with the video I just played to you. This is how it all started in May 2024, when Sedina Tamaklo Ationu, charged with some 78 counts. The courts then found her guilty, convicted her, slapped her with 10-year jail term in absentia. This was the basis for the appeal that she filed in 2024. And as a matter of fact, when the former Deputy Attorney General and his boss, also the Attorney General, the former Attorney General Godfrey Yeboah-Dame and Alfred Tuah Yeboah were speaking earlier in the week, they had indicated that they had not cited any appeal filed in 2024. Well, that narrative as well is changing per the documents being brought out now. But essentially, they say that the High Court wrongly evaluated the evidence, failure to prove stealing, questioning the effectiveness of the charges, and pointing out some of the charges as being defective. It's just improper reliance on a co-accused statement. That one of the significant legal arguments is that the trial judge relied on the caution statement of Daniel Axim. The appellant is arguing under Ghanaian law, the unsworn statement of a co-accused is not evidence against another accused unless adopted by the accused. Improper reliance, financial loss to the state, which was one of the charges as well, that she was found guilty of. Fast forward, what we have seen is the Court of Appeal this week ruling in favor of Sedina Tamaklo Ationu, effectively quashing all what was found guilty of her, acquitting and discharging her. And what this means, and the lawyers are going to tell us, the consequential effect of the acquittal and discharge, which effectively means that she cannot be charged on any of these offenses for the second time. This was the reasoning of all the 3 justices of the Court of Appeal who ruled unanimously acquitting and discharging Sedina Tamaklo Ationu. So the trial judge fundamentally misdirected herself on the burden of proof. They say that the trial judge in the first instance in 2024 who ruled that Sedina Tamaklo Ationu is guilty of those charges that led to the 10-year jail term, fundamentally misdirected herself on the burden of proof, that the prosecution, not the accused, bore the burden of proof, of proving every element of the offense beyond reasonable doubt, and not Sedina Tamaklo Ationu. Also, the trial judge on the matter of the burden of proof says the court held that the High Court wrongly shifted the burden onto the appellant to prove that she acted with authority or complied with due process merely because the charges allege she acted, quote, without authorization or without due process. The presumption of innocence remained intact throughout the trial. The reasoning of the Court of Appeal justices is that the court reaffirmed the golden thread of criminal law that the burden of proof never shifts unless a statute expressly says so, a prosecutor cannot shift that burden simply by drafting charges in negative terms. Also, the prosecution failed to establish the essential ingredients of many offenses. For several counts, the prosecution alleged that the appellant acted without authority or contrary to prescribed procedures, but failed to identify the applicable legal or administrative procedures or demonstrate precisely how they had been breached. That evidential deficiency was fatal to the convictions and many others, which we're going to be getting into. But this decision by the Court of Appeal to acquit and discharge Sedina Tamaklo Ationu is now the subject of the issue this morning. The Attorney General is clear in his mind that some of the charges have merit, and so has decided to file a notice of appeal urgently, and also asking for a stay of execution, that Sedina Tamaklo Ationu should not be acquitted and discharged. And this is the Attorney General's reason. And just a few of them. In fact, it's an 18-point statement they released earlier this week. The Attorney General says that the judgment of the Court of Appeal has occasioned a substantial miscarriage of justice for, among other reasons, material errors of law, in fact, apparent on the face of the record. 2, the appeal raises substantial and arguable grounds of law which disclose a real likelihood of success. 3, the applicant, that is him, is praying that the execution of the judgment given by the Court of Appeal on 30th of July, a couple of days ago, acquitting and discharging Sedina Tamaklo in respect of the matter should be stayed. That should the matter not be stayed, there is a real likelihood of Sedina Tamaklo leaving the jurisdiction and rendering the efforts of the applicant in this matter nugatory. The matters set out above constitute special circumstances warranting the grant of this application. This matter has played out in a very, very interesting way. As I indicated, Richard Ahiagba is joining us now, Director of Communications of the MPP for now. But in the coming months, he's seeking to be his first national vice chair. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Morning, Alfred.
All is well?
All is well. You're looking good.
Thank you. How's the groundswell going?
No, it's going well.
Perfect.
It's going quite well.
Any other dress than this
Pardon?
dress? Always wearing this dress. Why are you always wearing a badge? You don't have any dress.
Which one?
This always wearing one dress. Why?
It's not the same thing. I just have variations of it.
Always wearing. Are you always wearing white? Why?
But we're talking
are you Kanufuriata? Always wearing white. And then with this badge. Change your style.
To you to do
Thank you.
Change your style. Always wearing white.
Oforiata return in Anyagba.
But if anything had good colors like us, every Jew will be wearing it every day. You, Prof, will be wearing it every day.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Because they don't have good parts like us, so allow us.
So, thank you very much. The MPP held a press conference this week. They said this Court of Appeal decision is a travesty of justice, essentially disagreeing on all counts and the position that the Court of Appeal held to take this decision. I'll start off with you, Lawyer Martin Bebu, on this. And the reason is the former Deputy Attorney General, when I spoke to him this earlier in the week, indicated that's Alfred Choyeboa, said the charges, some of the charges being defective alone cannot be a basis for an acquittal and discharge of Sedina Tamaklo Ationu, and that there could have been a way to deal with it. For instance, in starting the case de novo, that's all over again, he cited Section 31 of the Courts Act and Section 406 of subsection 1 of Act 30. Is there a basis for this particular argument?
No, this is what it comes down to. It depends on your philosophy as a lawyer or as a judge. You see, so there is some room for discretion. What he's saying, yes, Section 31 of the Courts Act and Section 406 of Act 30 are true, right? But in terms of deciding that this is a good case to apply them, would then depend on the outlook, the philosophy of the judge. So what I'm saying, that's what we mean by two lawyers never agreeing on one point. Yes, this one has a different view, the other one has another. So he has quoted his Bible, that's Tia Yeboah, meaning that that's how he would have dealt with it, right? But he's not the judge. That's the unfortunate situation. So in the democracy, he's allowed to hold his opinion. Yes, because you see, that's the way it is. So I cannot totally say that he's so wrong. No, he's coming from a different perspective, right? Which is in the law, right? And but that's not the end. There are other people who see it differently. Now let's go straight into the case. I'm most interested in the 350 cars, and I said the moment I saw that
procured for GPRTU.
Yes, 350 cars. And
the charge was that they were inflated.
Perfect. So let's come this way. When the MPP administration took over, Ofori-Atta renegotiated the contract. Ofori-Atta renegotiated the contract. If you knew that the contract is so terrible, it's so bad, the overinflation, etc., deal with it legally to abrogate, right? Because you can show fraud, etc. Deal with it. But you chose to renegotiate. So after renegotiating, how do you come back and still saddle them with the consequences of that contract? It was renegotiated. That's what Ofori-Atta did. And the Egyptian company, so I understand, they were represented by... they were represented by, what do you call it, the Bedi Etuo's company, right? Yeah. So once it's been renegotiated, it's difficult. I don't understand why you still want to hold Sedinam responsible. If they were charging Ofori-Atta for it, then it would have been a different matter. But once you renegotiate a contract, you've met a contract, it has certain prices. Then you go into it and say, no, this is too high, this. You renegotiate, then and sign. So that's a fresh contract. Then you come back and say you hold Sedinam again. I cannot understand that. Don't touch it. So that part, I disagree with Tia Yeboah. I don't know how he's going to apply sections 31 and then section 406. No.
Renegotiation than payment was made?
Yes, by Ofori-Atta. It's not even in 2017, no. In 2018, I lie. In 2018, more than 1 year after coming into office. So why do you go and saddle it? Remember, Sedinam didn't pay 1 cedi on it. So me, the day I heard that part, I was like, Ofori-Atta again. Ofori-Atta again. Can you imagine? How do you renegotiate a contract and then go back and say you are holding the previous person responsible? Then you would find the other parts where Sticker himself came to give evidence. He's PW1.
You mean Dr. Stephen Amoah?
Yes.
The Shires MP?
Yes. At that time, he was head of Maslow.
Yes.
Where he said, part of the charges were no longer relevant, etc. It's Sticker's own evidence. You see? So me, because the AG is gone on appeal, as I say, you know the way I do my things, the part I'm very confident of, I'll speak clearly. The one I'm not confident, then I'll leave it for the Supreme Court to decide. So as for the basis side, to the extent that it was renegotiated and so paid under MPP, I don't see how we can hold Sedinam. And please, let's repeat, for the avoidance of doubt, the charges are what? 78. So when I talk about these ones don't cover all. And the part where Sticker, that Stephen Amoah, came to admit that the payments were made, the money was duly used, it means that all those charges, I expect that the Attorney General will lose that side. But I'm not talking about all the 78. So I should not be understood to have covered all the 78. No, I'll speak confidently only about the ones that I fully understand. The other ones, it's good. EDG has better understanding of the case. So that one, I'll yield to him.
Yes, but then some of the charges were found defective. The courts struck out and dealt with those charges that could stand. And it is not about whether or not...
That's the grounds of appeal.
Yes.
It happens, you know, infelicity of the lawyer. So certain grounds, there are rules on how to frame grounds of appeal. So they found about 8 of the grounds or so, not well laid out. So those were struck out. But there were enough grounds to be able to deal with the whole case. There's one when that can cover everything. When you say the judgment is against the weight of the record, we are not going too technical. Let me make it simple. It just means that there is an omnibus ground that you can use and then you'll be home and dry. So there were sufficient grounds to deal with it. So that's a minor point.
Well, but it is a matter of the state not being able to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. That's the threshold that the Court of Appeal was looking for in a criminal matter like this.
Yes.
But the Attorney General says he is convinced that the charges have merit.
Oh, that's the nature of the law. So the Attorney General takes one position, the accused and his lawyers will also take a different position. And at the end of the day, the judge decides. So let's be very clear. It's not every time that we agree with the judges. No, they may be right. It's also possible that they will be wrong. But they have the mandate to decide. So the Supreme Court, you read something, they'll tell you that, look, yes, that's the way we have seen it, and that's how we decided. You see, and you know the Supreme Court is the final court. So, you ask lawyers, there are a lot of cases you go, amongst us at the bar. You see, as a lawyer, you disagree with them to the end, when you are at the losing end, thinking that your case is right. But that's the nature of law, that one side wins generally, the other side loses. It's more or less a zero-sum game, right? So that's why I said, for me, I don't want to spill too much energy on those ones that you don't have the final say. So the fact that the Court of Appeal is saying these ones, they don't meet the threshold, etc. As I've told you, there are some of them I think there is merit. Other ones is a court that will decide. You know, we do not necessarily have to always agree. Look, there's one of the facts that the time they were playing out these facts, it never came out. You see, Sedinam was said to have met Obatampa and taking cash.
Some 500,000 at some filling station in Bachona.
Excellent. Then it turns out that after that date of the cash, there are letters that she's written demanding the money. But throughout...
They're demanding some interest payment.
No, the money as well.
Yes.
Eddie Design also. Yes. Demanding the actual money. Yes, I saw that part of the judgment. So I said, we're just told that she received cash. So how come that there are letters demanding the money after that date? So it creates a doubt. If they had gone to prove that, no, this letter is fake. You see, you are said to have collected money on this date, X. So today, 1st August. Then it turns out that you have, let's just use the same Sedina. So let's say Sedina is said to have collected the money on 1st August. The cash. So that's in the area of stealing. But it turns out that 8th August, 20th August, etc., she's made demands for that same cash. Demand notice. So then it means that, which one is which? So in that case, it means that the state has a burden to be able to prove that, no, these letters are fake. These letters are fake. Because otherwise, it means that you believe in Obatampa over Sedina. Meanwhile, there are documents to show that, no, she also has a defense to it. So that part, I was like, so how come that, of course, that's how cases are reported. Often, you know, we like to give a dog a bad name and hang it quickly. Throughout the discussion on the case, those letters were not mentioned. It was yesterday, as I read through in preparation, and I said, there's this one. So that one, there's a doubt in that area. So there are some of the charges that obviously you could see that the state couldn't meet the burden of proof. But I would not stick my neck and say for everything there was no. There are some, I think, that let the Supreme Court decide. So I'm not expecting that in the Supreme Court, the accused should win everything.
The 78?
Yes. Some of them, it's possible that there could be something other than a success for the accused. But others were very, very clear that this kind of charges should not have gone there. As I said, the part about the buses. And when you mention those vehicles, the 350 vehicles, they had a value of what? 61.7 million. 61.7 million Ghana. That's what was paid, the renegotiated price. So that's a huge side of a huge part of the case itself, a very huge part. So that part, I support Sedinam that no, she should not be answering for that. once Ofori-Atta renegotiated with Bedi Etuo, etc., then if they want, they should have charged them together, if they think so. Also meaning that in other ways, nobody should be held for that.
Right.
The Bassey side. And then the part sticker came to admit that, look, the money was duly used for those services.
But on the 500,000, the only evidence, at least based on what the judgment says, the only evidence tying her to it was a letter she supposedly signed acknowledging receipt. But in the police statement, Sedina had said she cannot vouch that the letter was signed by her, even though the signature looks like hers. So instead of asking whether the prosecution had proved she wrote that letter, what the trial judge asked whether she had disproved it. Some have described that as a bit questionable.
Excellent.
And that's what the Court of Appeal found. That the presumption of innocence doesn't ask an accused to clear her name.
Thank you.
It asks the state to establish guilt. The letter was never given properly authenticated as a Maslach document. So that's on the basis of which the charge fell.
Yeah.
It didn't go through. But the MPP says, and I'm saying, I'll come to you on this, that this is a travesty of justice. This decision by the Court of Appeal to acquit and discharge Sedina Tamakloe. Why?
Alfred, good morning again to my good brothers here and your viewers. I would have loved to listen to Edwiji before coming in. And then also, before I make any comment, if you will indulge me, that would be nice. But if not, I can proceed. Would you grant me?
We'll have two sessions on this.
All right. So, you see,
the next 6 minutes.
I want us to depersonalize the matter and look at the issues as they are. That our commitment is to fight corruption without respect to the individuals involved in the matter. So the discussion should be dispassionate, focused on the grand effort to fight corruption. And around this table, all of us are interested in curtailing corruption because of the demonstrable effect it has on our forward march as a country. So it's a matter that there is no disagreement. Now, when there are issues of corruption, our default position as a people should be that we should set examples that would deter people in the future to want to lend themselves to corruption. So I asked the question that in this particular case, where we are nitpicking and looking for grounds to acquit an individual in that exercise where we are collectively in agreement that we want to deter people from abusing their offices, leveraging their offices for personal end, we are looking for nano-micro basis to acquit an individual. It makes nonsense of the whole effort of fighting corruption. That, for me, is the conversation. Not about legal thing, legal that, legal this. Because as my brother Kwebu has demonstrated, in the law, you can always find basis to justify why you won't punish somebody. You can only find it, always find it. And in this occasion, it's been found. Notwithstanding the validation of the judgment by even the US authorities, which was the basis for the extradition. Notwithstanding that validation, because they looked at the case themselves and established and were satisfied that, yes, there's a case here, so therefore the person should go and answer for it. The Attorney General of this republic, while I see that to be a ruse, his points suggest that, yes, there's a basis for why that ruling or that judgment by the High Court should not be overturned.
He says he sees some merit in some of the charges. You say that's a ruse.
I don't know, I'm saying that.
He's filed a notice of appeal, stay of execution.
I don't disagree, but I'm just saying that it's a face-saving exercise.
The stay of execution?
Oh, yes, of course. Because if you are a government that campaigned that you are coming to fight corruption, and you have come into office, your first order of business was to file nolle prosequi and clear your people. On another occasion, one of your persons who have been jailed or convicted of a crime, you have found grounds to absolve the person from accountability. And you think that Ghanaians outraged about that? You think that a government would just sit back and say, well, I do what I do? This thing is political. We can see it. This government is on a path to set two standards in this country, whereupon some people are more equal and others are not. Some are above the law and others are not above the law. That's the appearance of what we're seeing. It may not be calculated. You can argue, and Edwigi will argue, that it is not contrived to set two standards in this country where some are above and some are not above the law. But that's what is appearing. If you see the processes that have been occasioned since this government came to office, you see clearly that when it has to do with their person, different rules apply. But when it has to do with the other side, different rules apply to them. Or more or less, the regular rules apply to all of us, but different set of rules apply to them. And so I am sitting here and saying, Lawyer Akpebu talks about 31, section 31(2), and makes it looks very light, that, oh, it's more a matter of where you want to put the weight. And it's discretionary, that you can willy-nilly put it here, put it there, and of course the law is just there and it's pliable. The application of that, in favor of the defense cannot be that easy. The threshold of use, otherwise that act is useless to begin with. It says that you cannot overturn a ruling on the basis of technicalities or errors in procedure. It was clear. It's clear on the face of it.
No,
it doesn't require
just for
any
the benefit
interpretation
of our viewers. 31(2) says, the court shall dismiss the appeal if it considers that no substantial miscarriage of justice has actually occurred, or that the point raised in the appeal consists of a technicality or procedural error, or a defect in the charge, or indictment, but that there is evidence to support the offense alleged in the statement of offense, in the charge or indictment, or any other offense which the accused could have been convicted upon the charge or indictment.
So the standard here is that you uphold the judgment and not go on a repeal or overrule the judgment or the prior judgment just on the basis of technical evidence that, oh, the charge sheet was defective, as we are being told in this matter. So in the prosecution application of that act, that section of that act, the standard is high.
But you cannot
that you must meet a certain incontrovertible evidence that there's absolutely no evidence to justify the judgment. So the threshold is high. Not to be applied as though that I just feel like it, so I'm going to apply it. No.
But you cannot also convict an accused person on a defective charge, isn't it?
But I'm just saying that we are not asking my opinion. We are talking from the Act, what it says. So the Act sets a high standard that in the interest of justice, make sure that you don't reduce this process to say, oh, I see a defect here, so therefore I overturn it. It's subject to abuse if that is the case. You understand? So Lawyer Kwebu's rendition of it makes it as though that if you feel like it in the morning and you decide that you want to just overturn a judgment because you see a defect, do it. It makes it so easy and make it light that you can do it if you want to because there's a defect. But the point is that if there are evidence, in which case there are evidence of the crime being committed. And so the evidence should trump the technicality or the error. So but in this case, the technicalities and the supposed defect trumps the evidence. So now you ask your question, what are we fighting? Are we fighting corruption or we are examining people on their ability to write charge sheets? Is that what we are doing here? Is that what Ghanaians voted for? That we want to see that lawyers, are we in a classroom to begin with? So that we're examining attorney generals on how they can write charge sheet perfectly? Not on prosecuting crime, which is the substance of the matter. Is it a crime or the writing of the crime? You understand? And that's what we're saying, that you are invalidating the whole commitment to fight corruption. And that's why I'm clear that let's not personalize this. It's a process of us trying to establish deterrence. Okay? It's deterrence. But here, you give people incentive to feel that the law can exonerate you. All you have to do is bid your time long enough that your party comes to power, and they'll find grounds to extricate you from any charges that you ought to answer to. Is that good for Ghana? Is that how we want to proceed? Is that how we should fight corruption in our country? It's absurd. Completely absurd.
I'm bringing Mr. Bento on this, and as I indicated,
you understand
on this because yes, thank you, Mr. Bento. I mean, on this same point that Richard Ahangba ended on, the judges struck out the defective charges and raised questions essentially about whether or not the other charges that were so properly filed met the threshold of it being beyond reasonable doubt, as we have seen. What's the issue in there?
I have been trying to figure out whether they struck out all the charges and whether, in their view, all of the charges were so flawed as to not be upheld.
No, they're defective.
And I think this. They said, from my reading, it wasn't everything. They dealt with a few, and then it seemed they seem to have said that these charges, so many of them are defective, and then they proceed to clear the rest. I'm a bit worried about that. Even one charge is enough to put somebody in jail. And you see, we lawyers always say justice must be done, it must be seen to be done. If justice is done, it is seen. All right? And the same happens with injustice. And let me explain. So, before Sedina came to Ghana, there were people who predicted that in Twi we say Yakohu Abrewa, there's Ken, there's Sedina. The pressure for bringing Sedina back or effecting her extradition rose very high because they were going after Ken. And it was clear to many people that, well, to get Ken, they would have to bring Sedina. So people conjecture that they will bring Sedina. Because you don't do that, you can't get Ken. But if they bring Sedina, she will be sick when she comes. I'm saying these are conjectures that people make. And so she will not see a day in jail. You remember there was the whole issue of where is she? All right? And then they predicted that, Sedina will do an appeal. And then they predicted that there will be, a stay pending the appeal, and that the appeal is going to go Sedinam's way. I think some of you heard some of these things. And that she will appeal, and they will exonerate her, and she will never see a day in jail. It is worrying, because I have said already that sometimes it seems as if the politicians have dreams, and they make wishes, and then the judiciary delivers it. Okay, one event is not a trend. So you don't create a trend on one event. But no wise person ignores a trend. It started with Justice Tokono. Statements were made before they even came into power. They come into power, something happens. Justice Tokono is gone. You had other situations, GN Bank. Okay, promises were made outside the courtroom. Okay, then somehow the judiciary delivers the dreams of the politicians.
Well, the Bank of Ghana is appealing that now.
Well, as we stand right now, see the trend? No wise person ignores a trend. Some politicians make statements to a certain effect somehow, and then they go on appeal. Same thing happened with Sedina. Okay, people express something before the fact, and then it happens, and then they go on appeal. All right, and you see the series of nolle prosequis. Okay, there is a clear trend that the smart thing to do is, if you get in trouble, find a way to escape and wait for your political party to come into power, and they will clear you. We've seen the Nolly Prosequence. Nobody can deny there is a trend. Okay, we are being too hypocritical in Ghana, and I'm not saying people should be railroaded into jail when it's not due or whatever it is. But there's a man who liked chichinga, kebab, but one day he saw them slaughtering a cow, and he said, no, they shouldn't slaughter the cow. And they asked him, if you don't slaughter a cow, how will you get your chichinga? Look at Galamsey. We've been crying over decades over Galamsey that no kingpin has been caught or whatever it is. Then the government starts going after people, and one or two people get trapped in the thing. And then you hear all kinds of things. Look at this corruption thing we have been crying about. Okay. And honestly, if there is any benefit of doubt regarding judges, I will give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay. But we lawyers also know that you can argue any side of anything and rationalize anything. Okay. So when you put it all together, it doesn't look like we are serious about fighting this corruption thing, because nobody can convince me, after the work Manasseh did, after the evidence we saw. You go and buy something which on the street is 2 cedis. On the street is 2 cedis. And you alone, when you go and buy it, it comes up to be 4 cedis. And so many different things. The facts were clear. All right? And if even you had issues with some of these, the work of the prosecutor, like Richard is saying, we are not there to judge the work of the prosecutor, although they are important. I have said, okay, and I said it based on the Kenneth Ofori-Atta case and other things, that we need to look hard at the way our prosecutors proceed, because they mess up cases.
That the question is whether or not the state put up a good case. These 78 charges, was it more of a fishing expedition? Was it substance?
I'm making a general point, and that's why
that's the issue that you're pointing to.
So I don't think anybody doubts that what went on in Maslock was untoward. And by the way, let me make this call. Abolish Maslock. Abolish Maslock. When they started, I remember some of these things that Imani says. They say, we don't like anything, and then they will talk about, ideology. I think it started during the MPP time. MPP set it up or something. And we said, look, you have all these banks and financial institutions and everything. Today, they said they are going to start a women's bank. Okay. And the warning was that be careful about some of these things, because they can easily become slush funds. Maslock has become a slush fund. Look at the track. Okay. And invariably, more often than not, you hear about they giving loans to political operatives. And they don't recover those loans, and then we end up having problems. So there's another trend there. But the thing is, where there is a crime, or there is, the suggestion that there's been a crime, as was obvious in this case, our prosecutors must be careful. Because my point in the case of Kenneth Ofori-Atta was that the way they have gone about it, even if the man was guilty, you are going to let him loose. So please, it's coming up here again. All right. However, if you look at section 406 of Act 30, okay, it clearly brings to question what the justices of the appeal court did. Okay? And 406 generally talks about substance and not form. That you don't just throw out everything because there were errors in, certain things, and it doesn't go to the substance. And in one of the statements, I kind of gleaned that the justices were making the suggestion that it goes to the substance. And I was looking for where it goes to the substance. And I didn't see it. So for you to say they did a sloppy job and the job was so sloppy that the crime didn't happen. Okay. I think that if you flip the other side, yes, they have to prove beyond reasonable doubt. But for you to also take it up and throw everything away, you have to prove, at least to reasonable people, that everything that was done was wrong. Look, one charge alone is enough to put a person in jail. Okay, so to suggest, and by the way, she has been acquitted and discharged. Okay.
Which means that any other
charge
is completely
okay.
out.
Now, if you put all of, I said, don't ignore a trend. If you put the sweepiness of the action, everything gone,
if you put some of the things that were done, it looks like somebody wanted to just free Sedina. And then you connect it to the things that were said before she came. You ask yourself, where are we going with this corruption thing? What signal does this thing send? So for me, look, let's see how the appeal will go. But I can tell you something here. I don't think that appeal is going to go anywhere.
You don't think the appeal will go anywhere?
I don't think so.
The Attorney General is convinced. He says that, look, he sees merit in some of the charges. And the reason why he's going to court. And on the grounds of appeal, listen to the language of that notice of appeal and the stay of execution. This is what the Attorney General says. I'm going to read it, at least so I don't take the matters out of. This is it, when he filed. It says that this occasioned a miscarriage of justice. This is the Attorney General speaking. Among other reasons, material errors of law and fact are apparent on the face of the record. It raises substantial and arguable grounds of law which disclose a real likelihood of success.
I've heard all of that. Okay, but listen.
You still don't believe this?
A carpenter goes to work. His tools are hammers and chisels and things. A lawyer's tools are gowns, dressing, and language. Those are lawyer's tools. Now, and a lawyer can argue anything. So he can say all these things. We will look at the effect. And clearly, it seems every government comes and clears their people. And this government in 2 years, check how many people they have cleared. Check the value, okay, of the charges against them and what could have been recovered, even if we recovered half. We have cases where they say they are going to recover 60% or so. We haven't seen, what has happened with it. Look, my brother Martin is here. Oral, they were jumping back and forth, up and down. How does this play? Like I said, you like teaching, but you don't want to kill the cow. Okay? We cannot say we are fighting corruption when clearly there looks like, it seems like there's a trend where the government is clearing its people, and then they go on appeal, and we don't know what the appeal is going to do, all right? You can argue any side of any issue if you're a good lawyer. So for me, a lawyer's tools are his dressing and language. So composing the language to say, when the DG wears his coat and his guy and things, it makes him look like a demigod. And then he will use it. So when you hear some of these things, look at the action. Look on the ground and see what the trend is. So for me, like I said, if there's any benefit of doubt, okay, I will give it to the judges. But it also does not look like they acted in such a way as to make everybody believe that this was clear, plain law at work. And it's sad how people are attacking Godfrey Dame. I have said that I think we should watch our prosecutors and get them to do a good job. But I think people are taking it a bit too far and personalizing this thing over the head of Godfrey Dame. All right? We need to do some of these balancing things and make sure that going forward, we will not come back and say the same things when the table is.
Is it not because he's the Attorney General?
Yes.
The buck stops with him, is it
Of
not?
course, yes. But I'm saying some of the language is a bit too personal. All right? And as we speak, okay, and I keep going back to the Ken case because the example everybody remembers. No matter what you think he has done, the botching of the prosecution is why we don't have the situation. And like I said from the beginning, Yekobisa Abrewa, Abrewa is in the US. The same Abrewa looked at Sedinam Tamaklo's case and said, this one is bad. Take it back. The same Abrewa looked at Ken Ofori-Atta's case and acquitted or basically absolved him twice.
And that was on the immigration matter. That was on the immigration.
I beg. I said,
a classmate.
You see this? You see? That's why I said we went to ask Abrewa, who is controlling the U.S. courts? Okay, if this happened in Ghana, you can say whatever you want to say, but somebody who doesn't care about you, is not afraid of you, looked at the issue and said that this thing, it doesn't look like you are serious. And I'm making the point that I beg. The justices in the U.S., Ofori-Atta is controlling the justices in the U.S. Is that what you are saying? Is that what you are saying? You think they are like you people running around here doing what people want?
that he attended.
Let me make my case.
Oforiate's son is in the US, etc.
Your son is in the US, so what?
That's why.
So what?
My immigration judges in the US are not independent. No, let's correct him.
No.
Immigration judges.
What are you talking about?
They are part of the executive, the Justice Department. Who tells you an immigration?
So what is your problem? So you mean
he's not an independent?
Kenneth is controlling the justice system in the US? Really?
They are part of the Justice.
Let me finish my point.
They are not immigration.
Oh God! Please.
They are not.
Oh God! End your point. When you hear the name of Ken, you people, your brains break. Listen, I am making a general point, and the general point is we need to make sure we are doing things. No, it's not true. Please, no. Give the rest of my time to.
It's not true.
I'm done. I'm coming. Please, I haven't used that time. I've donated the rest of my time to Jampo. No, it is done. Okay, gentlemen. Okay, let's focus. Let's keep focus.
7 minutes. Are you the host? 7. No. Were you the host when you were talking about his time?
Please,
7 minutes.
Let's keep
7 minutes.
Because I indicated that you said you wanted him to speak first. I said.
Richard
make your point preliminary.
Can we crowdfund this campaign?
I didn't tell you this money. Okay.
The people he's going against are very formidable, so we may want to crowdfund him.
Let me bring you on this, and you see on where Mr. Bento ended about Godfred Dame. He issued a statement yesterday. He described this Court of Appeal judgment as very weak. That he has read, and I'm quoting from the statement, I have read the judgment and my initial comments are that it is poor in reasoning, poor in analysis, and lacks proper evaluation of the evidence on record. The judgment is very weak and cannot meet legal scrutiny. If the charge sheet, as they claim, was defective, then there are two key statutes the Court of Appeal ought to have considered. And that is what I referenced earlier. Section 31(2) of the Courts Act is clear that an appellate court shall not allow an appeal on the grounds of a defective charge sheet, provided there is evidence on record to support the conviction.
So, actually, I didn't finish.
Regardless of how the charges were framed.
Jampo stampeded me out, but maybe this point is important. I was developing a point that we distrust our prosecutors. The evidence is there. That is another reason why the OSP's office should be strengthened and all prosecutions should go there.
Okay.
Because you have a situation where the current Attorney General inherited a case of his personal friend, Sedina. Okay. That thing creates a trust deficit. So going forward, I am looking across the political lines and saying we need, if we are serious about fighting this corruption thing, we need to get to a point where we trust what our prosecutors do and that cases can transit prosecutors and not be so affected by politics, because that's a major problem that we have. And part of what you read is the same, goes to the same point. So, Professor Jampo, don't be stampeding me next time. Let me finish my thoughts.
So Alfred, first of all, I listened to my senior Martin Pebu. I listened to the other two. And I have no doubt at all that this morning, my learned senior Kofi Bento decided not to do law, but politics.
Why is that?
And the reason why he decided not to do law, but politics, is that with all his learning of the law, it would be extremely difficult for him to undermine this judgment. And so conveniently, he chose the path of politics instead of law. But our training is law. The politics is just an addition, regrettably. This morning, my learned senior pontificates very strange legal propositions. One is that an American court can have a say on criminal charges filed in a Ghanaian court yet to be determined. Where from this learning, Bento?
Do you want me to answer?
No.
You don't want me to answer?
No.
Then note that question is wrong.
Because
wrong question.
The American court does not have supervisory jurisdiction over the Ghanaian court.
Nobody is saying that. When you ask them to extradite somebody, you brought me in. You ask them to extradite somebody. You effectively ask them to look at what you are doing, and they judge it. They said you don't look serious.
Can I proceed?
So don't be me. Now I have to respond.
as we speak, there is no decision on extradition in respect of Ken Ofori-Atta. Ken Ofori-Atta requested for permanent U.S. residency, among others, and he went before an immigration court. It is that immigration court that had given a decision. There's no question whether Ken can be extradited or not. So what are you talking about?
Nobody is saying that.
The request for extradition by the Republic is yet to be decided. So please don't mislead the public.
Right.
We owe it a duty.
He should make his point.
Right. Look, you see, I have seen a wayward American judge who decided to engage in judicial waywardness by pronouncing on criminal charges filed in a Ghanaian court, yet to be decided. Today, as we speak, the United States of America is fighting even the International Criminal Court.
Yes.
Even the International Criminal Court, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, is saying that the judges there are lunatics. And you have a Ghanaian lawyer. Please, let us not sell our sovereignty for people.
When you extradited people without proper process.
Now let me deal with the substantive matter. First of all, we are being told that when a charge sheet is defective, that defectiveness should be overlooked. Proceed. My Lord Justice Pega, in his validatory judgment, Osenkwejo II and the Republic, said the provision you read relates to Act 30. However, the 1992 Constitution has raised particularity relative to charge sheet to a constitutional pedestal. Article 19, 1D. And for that matter, where particulars are defective, you cannot use evidence to cure that defect. And so if you look, SEDI had 2 appeals. When prosecution called its 6 witnesses, the prosecution said they have closed their case. A submission of no case was done. One of the issues SEDI raised right from the beginning had to do with the defectiveness of the charge. The High Court judge said, proceed and answer the charges. That submission of no case was appealed against. And if you read the notice of appeal and the grounds in respect of the submission of no case, included the fact that, one of it clearly had to do with the defective charge. So it is in the notice of appeal.
The 2024 one?
Yes. And no, so the first appeal was August 2023. That was when she was called to open her defense. But then they raised that issue. Now, when the judgment was delivered in May 2024, if you look at the notice of appeal filed on the 9th of May 2024, in that notice is the omnibus ground. Which omnibus ground is the fact that the judgment is unreasonable, having regards to the evidence on record. All of us lawyers here seated know that once that omnibus grounds of appeal is raised, the entire proceeding is subject to review. And that is why we say appeal is by way of what? Rehearing. It means that everything that happened at the trial court, the appellate court is put in that position. Obviously, they don't have the benefit of assessing demeanors. Because the trial court is the only one that gets the opportunity to see witnesses and others. The appellate, they are just going to look at just the record without more. Now, I have heard the former Attorney General, the former persecutor, say that the notice of appeal was not brought to his attention.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Clearly, it shows you that the guy was sleeping on the job.
Well, this is the part of the statement. He says, no notice of an appeal filed by Sedina Tiono in 2024 came to the attention of the Office of the Attorney General in my tenure.
Please, hold on. I've read the statement.
And deal with the records too.
Please, I've read the statement.
The records were not also filed.
I'll deal with it. You see, Kofi, you're a lawyer. Don't do this.
Hey, Master.
Senior.
Bring me in. I'll
No,
defend myself.
yes, you will. But my point is that as lawyers, there's a bigger standard placed on us. With the greatest of respect to you, you can't speak like Anyaba. He's a politician. He is permitted to express any opinion, anyhow. Desirable. But you, a standard is placed on you. You cannot sacrifice that standard on the altar of political expediency. Why do I say so? On the 9th of May 2024, the notice of appeal was filed at the registry of the High Court. Whose permission or duty is it to serve that notice? SEDI? 2, the point had been made that pieces of the records were even missing. Look, I have with me the decision of the Court of Appeal differently constituted because the Attorney General brought an application before the Court of Appeal for rectification of the record. Is that not the procedure that the rules permit when you have issues about the records? Is to apply for rectification. The Attorney General applied to the Court of Appeal, presided over by Justices Georgina Dacha, Amedahe, and another one, who reviewed, in fact, SEDI's lawyers opposed the application on the grounds that the very document they claimed were missing are documents that the prosecution itself disclosed to them. And so for that matter, you cannot be saying that your own document is missing from the record. SEDI's lawyers oppose it. The Court of Appeal looked at the two sides and came to the conclusion that regardless of the fact, your claim that the prosecution has it already, our decision is that the records ought to be done again and those documents submitted to the Attorney General. Are you aware of that? And so what have you decided to do? Bandy misleading information to cheer up your supporters who have lost an election. SEDI is not the reason why you lost your election, a devastating election. SEDI is not the reason. Now, there are substantive matters. First of all, the counts were 78. The defective counts were even less than 10. The rest of the charges were evaluated on their merits. You did a shoddy work, poor work. Godfrey supervised the poor work.
That's why he doesn't disagree with you.
And you know why? He never took his work serious.
What do you mean by that?
Yes. And I'll tell you. And you see, sometimes when I listen to Godfrey, I say, look.
I beg, the man is not here. Stop.
The statement he issued, what do you think he was doing? This is an innocent person that he seeks to attack and destroy.
Who is the innocent person he's attacking?
Oh.
The man is AG doing his work. If he's here, he will defend himself. But I am complaining.
So let me make my point. Let me make my point. I've listened to him.
So are you referencing the statement
he made?
Yes,
the statement he made. I'm not permitted. Who issued the statement?
No, you deal with the statement.
No, Kofi, who issued the statement? What is this trying? Imagine if it's found that there was no notice of appeal. Do you know what Godfrey would have succeeded in doing? Is to undermine even the judges. Why would you have entertained an appeal when there is no notice of appeal?
Are you referencing this particular document?
See the date, 9th. Where is it? The registry of the High Court. 9th May 2024. Signed, High Court, Accra. This is fictitious, shameful. And you think this person should be taken serious? And you see the painful part of this conversation is that, and like I said, this is not one who. In the Atufose matter, the same shoddy work was done by him. What happened? The same High Court judge says the burden was shifted on Atufose. Look, I have always maintained the only work I would do permanent is to be a lawyer. It's to be a lawyer.
Petrol. Right now, you sell petrol.
That's why I say permanent. This one is not chieftaincy title. I will leave it. You understand? So I have always been cautious in dealing with legal matters, particularly those that borders on the liberty of an individual. The liberty. You have a situation where the justices of the Court of Appeal had the opportunity of evaluating. And look, I am not surprised. Look, when the Court of Appeal acquitted and discharged Atufose, go and look at Godfrey's statement he issued immediately. Was to attack the justices of the Court of Appeal. That's him.
Because it didn't go in.
Because it didn't go his way. This is an attorney general who today, a former attorney general who today, the disciplinary committee of the General Legal Council had found a prima facie case of professional misconduct against him.
He says the Republic
when was the last time you saw this happen?
Said the Republic had nothing to do in this 2024 matter in terms of the conduct of that appeal.
Look, let me just go
That's
ahead.
what he references.
The office of the Attorney General does not belong to Godfrey Dame. It is an office that continues. The state prosecutor on record, if you read the judgment, the Court of Appeal judgment, you have it.
Yes.
There's a named individual there, Hilda Craig. Mm-hmm. She was part of the people who prosecuted the case before the High Court. She handled the appeal and a different outcome. Unless, of course, my friend here, and listening to Ahiagba has, won't me filed a notice of appeal?
I know that the process underway. I don't know if they're found.
Yes, this was
so the understanding I get from you is that you expect only one outcome from the Court of Appeal, a dismissal of the appeal.
No, not exactly. I didn't say that. I didn't suggest that.
You didn't know why I asked you that question.
Well, I didn't suggest that.
Think through my question.
Think about what Martin said earlier. Before you answer.
But you see, I asked you this question for an obvious reason.
So that is a blackmail question that you asked.
You see?
It's a trick question.
Yeah, it's a blackmail question.
What's the point? You see, the point I am making is that, Alfred, I've heard people who have not even read the judgment pontificate on it. Yeah. This morning, when I listened to my learned senior.
Your learned senior, Martin says.
No, you.
Your
I'm coming.
Listen to him.
You would stay calm.
Rehearing was the normal outcome of this.
Kofi, listen to me.
Listen on your philosophy.
Listen. No, what philosophy?
He is
not even.
Listen to him.
My point is that, Kofi, with the greatest of respect to you, you have not exhausted this judgment. You have not. I've listened to you, and you have not. And you have
Tell
not.
Me where.
You have not because if you read this judgment, it will expose your prejudices.
No, what exactly?
What I've read confirms what I've said.
You see.
But you have not read all.
Please, the defective charges. The defective charges. For instance, count 45. Conspiracy to commit crime, namely, willfully causing financial loss to the state. Contrary to section so and so. Now listen to the particulars. Said the now Christian Tamaklo Ationo, Daniel Axim, April 2016 in Accra, in the Greater Accra region, agreed to act together with a common purpose to willfully cause financial loss to the state. That's it. Kofi, you read criminal procedure.
Point.
We both did criminal procedure because without it, you won't be a lawyer. Is that how you put a criminal charge?
Martin is an authority in criminal law. He says
The point here, if you read everything,
Martin never said that.
He never said it's
Martin,
he is not saying. I am saying.
Please stop.
I am saying. Please authority in that. He says the natural conclusion. I agree with him. That's what I'm saying. So
hold on.
You are referring to someone. He's an authority. Martin is an authority. Because they study him in criminal. You bring me in, I'll answer you. He said rehearing is the normal thing that you should have expected in this case.
Because
you should stay on his case.
If you read the counts, a count should be an invitation to offer a defense. So the count must contain an act or omission. Where is it here?
You are wrong.
So please, why am I?
No,
wait,
for the public sake.
Why public sake?
Just note it.
A count is not an invitation to offer a defense. A count is a statement that the prosecution must
Mr. Bento. Mr. Bento.
You see, you don't even know what you are talking about.
Okay.
No so if you look in the Republic versus Ernest Thompson, Ernest Thompson challenged the charges that were brought against him. The High Court dismissed it. He said the charges were defective. He went to the Court of Appeal. He further appealed to the Supreme Court. I invite you to read my Lord Justice Tanko's reasoning. My Lord Justice Tanko took the view that the charge must contain a certain level of sufficiency to meet a constitutional threshold. The lack of it is not cured by amendment. You strike it out. Now on appeal, if you strike a charge out, everything found on it will collapse. So it is not the charge sheet that was struck out, but specific counts. Those counts that meet the constitutional threshold were allowed to stand. Now, what the judges did, what the judges then did, was now go into the merit, the specific merit of those counts. My senior, what's the name, Martin, raised a very interesting point. Which interesting point had to do with the specifics, the counts. He's done an extremely good job on it. If you pick, for instance, the one bordering on causing financial loss to the states, about the buses, okay? The buses that were...
But for GPRTU?
Were bought 350 buses.
Somebody commits a crime.
Your challenge was that
somebody pays.
He had committed causing financial loss to the state. In the charge of causing financial loss, the fundamental thing that you have to establish is that, in fact, the person authorized payment. Because without it, the charge will not succeed. It is not a charge that is left hanging. The charge must found factual basis. So the justice of the Court of Appeal reasoned otherwise and said, your charge is that ABCD was not done, for which reason you are charging the appellant. By your own prosecution, and guess who the first prosecution witness was? The current MP for Inshiaso, Stika. He was the first prosecution witness. Now guess what happened under cross-examination of Mr.
Stephen Amwa.
Stephen Amwa. I always still call him Stika.
Dr. Stephen Amwa.
Exactly. Under cross-examination, lawyers for SEDI asked him a very specific question. And also the Director of Finance was brought in as the fifth prosecution witness, the Director of Finance of Maslock. So the question was put to him, and I'm trying to retrieve that particular portion. Because you see, Alfred, I think that people need to see what is on record. When you see what is on record, if you can still, in the face of those evidence or pieces of evidence on record, still come to a different conclusion, then yours is just not a question of law, but you are looking at something else. Alfred, permit me to read it.
On where exactly? So that, while we flip through.
No, I'm going to the records. The records of proceedings. Sticker. Okay. PW1. you will see his testimony at page 80 of volume 3 of the Record of Appeal. Page 80 of volume 3 of the records. Question. You also know from your records that the contract for the acquisition of the vehicles had been signed by your predecessor, but not a single cedi had been paid by Maslock. Is that correct? Answer. Yes, my lady. That's the car.
That no payments were made.
Yes. Now, at page 294 of volume 3 of the Records of Proceedings, PW5, the Director of Finance of Maslock, under cross-examination. Question. Your CEO has testified in this court that they renegotiated the entire contract price. Is that the case? Answer. Unfortunately, I cannot speak on my CEO's testimony. Question. I'm asking you personally. Maslock says that the contract price was renegotiated. Is that the case? Answer. From what the person gave to me, yes. This is prosecution witnesses. Now again, at page 297, 294 of volume 3 of the records, question, the same Director of Finance. This renegotiated contract was done for how many years after A1 had left office? Answer, I have no idea. Prosecution witnesses. Question, but you will be able to tell the court when the payment was made. Is that correct? Answer, yes. Question, when was it made? Answer, 2018. A1 exited office first week in January 2017. Is that correct? Answer, that is correct.
A1 talking about Sedina Tamaklo.
Yes. And you people sit here and say that she should be put in prison to make you happy.
So,
what kind of democracy are we running? Now, even shocking.
On what basis? And what do you?
I'm doing merit. I mean, I'll yield to them. I invite you, go to the judgment. Page 85. Please, are you there?
Page 85.
85 of the judgment. And so if anybody tells you that this case was lost on technicalities, the person doesn't even know what he's talking about. Ignorance. 85. Again, PW5, Director of Finance of Maslock, who Godfred Dami in his wisdom brought to the courts as his prosecution witness. When he looked at all the people in this world, he brought PW5 to come and prove his case for him. Competent Dami. Let's see. Question. You tendered Exhibit AD, AC, AB, which relates to payment of end of leave and ex gratia to A1 and her former deputy. Is that correct? Answer. That is correct. Question. The payments were processed by your office. Is that correct? Answer. Very correct. Question. The processing was based on documents relating to the appointment.
Reading court documents.
Relating to the appointment of A1 and her former deputy. Is that correct? Answer. Very correct. In processing for this payment, did you notice anything untoward? Question. No. I did not notice anything untoward. Question. You put your signature under this payment because you did not find anything wrong with this payment. Is that correct? Answer. I authorized those payments because I did not find anything wrong with it.
And this is who speaking?
PW5. Godfred Dami's witness against SEDI. So if you read this judgment, in the face of this, is that the appellate court, even the Supreme Court, going to vary these records when they are bound by it.
I see.
And so, you see, I have listened to people, I've listened to my two brothers here today, And I'm like asking myself, what kind of justice system do we want? The justice system where my brother Richard Ahiagba can even speculate and conjecture and say that it meets a political convenient statement to put somebody in, even if there is no evidence.
There was a question directed
Richard,
at Martin.
what democracy do you think we'll be building?
I see. No. Mr. Agba, no, you want to come?
Yeah.
What was it?
But you know, I didn't have my time to make any submission.
Hear him. So that,
yeah. So now it's my time.
What's the issue exactly on what he's talking about?
What Edwiji I just done? Edwiji, you made a reference to Article 19(1)(d). Is that what you said? That cures any claim of Section 31(2)?
No, I said the charge sheet must meet that constitutional threshold.
Yeah, so therefore you're saying that Section 31(2) is subservient to 19(1)(d), which, if it's constitutional, is the case. But I don't see it. I just open it. 19(1)(d). I don't see it there. So maybe if you can advise me, because what I read here doesn't say that. So in other words, 31(2)(c), 31(2) should uphold. The situation we see here.
Should I assist? Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, go ahead. No, because it's fundamental.
So
he says that because
I'll do my rebuttal.
I'm coming. No, so I can see what he says, because I'm responding to what he says.
Okay.
19(1)(d). I don't see what he says should be the case there.
Oh no, just give me the context.
You understand? But I'm saying that, Alfred, if we are here committed to fighting corruption, everything my brother Edwiji just read is to the effect that a payment has been made for a commitment of the state to a certain cost. And he says that because it was paid by another person, you understand? Renegotiated. And paid by somebody other than the person who committed the state to that payment, then there's no crime. What? Are you serious? Do you hear the sound of it, what you're saying? And then Edwiji makes the argument that governance is a continuum. And so was it expected that necessarily Sedna would have been in office to pay for it when it's a continuum? And another person inherits that contract? And ought to
renegotiate.
No.
But negotiation.
Okay.
What was bad?
No. Hold on.
Became what you renegotiate.
No problem.
But
the point here is
what was the
okay, Alfred.
Bring a Foriata.
No problem. Just
the point you made about the inheritance of a particular contract.
That's why you
to the extent that the contract was renegotiated,
it became yours.
And figures changed, reductions made, and payments made. Does that still put the burden on the person?
It's a different thing if you had paid on that original contract.
Absolutely.
Hold on, let me finish. Does the person who negotiated the contract that you have renegotiated still have the burden of answering for a contract that was never signed?
Alfred, this thing you just asked me. Alfred,
no, let me.
Please go ahead. This question you just asked, does it sound logical to you?
No,
oh, please.
No. Mr. Agba,
does it sound logical to you? I'm bewildered.
Are you asking a question about the logic of the question?
Yes, because you have to be in a certain frame of mind to ask me that question.
What exactly are you talking about?
Well, I'm coming. Mr. A commits an act that commits a state to a certain payment that is seen as egregious and therefore causing financial loss to the state. Another takes over, identifies the irregularity of it, renegotiated it to save the state money.
Yes.
That action is independent of the original act which committed me to that amount. Are you following the logic I'm trying to advance to you? You commit me to a certain payment. I come in and I charge you for causing financial loss to the state. Then I proceed to mitigate the loss to the state by renegotiating it. And you are saying that the renegotiation I've done should inure to your benefit, when you have committed me to a higher threshold. But I, in seeing wisdom and not wanting to waste the state resources, I renegotiated to bring the price down. And you are saying that because I brought it down to pay a lesser amount, you are saying that you should be absolved.
It's regrettable.
I mean, you see what is happening?
I wanted to listen to the logic of your answer. I wanted to listen to the logic of your answer because hold on.
You cancel it.
Hold on.
Yes.
Do you know? And Aduji and Kwebu, you are lawyers. Is that not the case?
Absolutely.
Our contract.
I was to come to you. You weren't seated.
I didn't do my submission. I beg you. I beg you. No, I didn't. You said something
preliminary. Yes, you made your point.
There was nothing preliminary about it. I just didn't have my time. I wanted to listen to Aduji. Now, Alfred, just hold on.
And I wanted to understand the logic of your answer, but I still don't get it.
Here's the point. Aduji and Kwebu are lawyers. I want them to answer for me if contracts are sacrosanct.
Not always. We have what we call vitiating factors. If you find that there's misrepresentation, there's mistake, there's undue influence, etc., you can cancel it.
Okay, no problem. No problem. So now let me help you with this. So you are saying that because there was renegotiation in their contract, there were grounds for that contract to be declared void.
Absolutely.
Because
void. So
negotiate an invalid contract.
So what? You're even undermining the point.
No,
the point is that why can't you not be? Why can't you be quiet? Why can't you be quiet? Because the point that is being made. No. I beg you. No, you can't.
But you see, because
the point I'm making is this: they are majoring on the fact that contract, having been renegotiated, has become another person's crime.
Yes.
No,
and the payment was done by
hold on.
You have your substantive point on this. So
you have done something wrong, for which we have brought you, to be tried and jailed. Now you are telling me that another who saw the error in what you have done. And no, I'm not explaining. It is you who will not. But the point I'm making to you is that for Aduji to be reading some courtroom documentation to us that somebody has committed a crime, which crime another sought to mitigate, because it's a contract that you must hold and execute. And the state, in seeking to execute that contract, see how egregious the amounts are. Go ahead to renegotiate and pay because you owe that person that amount, which you were committed to by the person you are trying. And you are saying that because I executed that contract, the burden of causing that loss becomes mine. I mean, in what world is this logical?
Very.
No.
So, two, my bit of this issue is how Aduji seeks to make this a courtroom discussion. We are in this country, and the focus of NDC's own election in 2024 was to fight corruption. Lawyer Kwebu, sitting by me, was a member of the oral committee, wasn't he? Now, you come to office on the wings of that. And then there are acts that are committed where the state has lost resources.
No, he hasn't paid one CD.
Your own witnesses came to court.
So why did Ken Ofori-Atta make that payment you are talking about? Who committed? No, I'm saying that if you're saying that, who committed the state to that transaction?
No, wait. What's the essence of the question you are asking? Why did Ken Ofori-Atta make the payment?
Because Sedinam committed the state to that transaction. And you haven't taken delivery of the vehicles, having taken delivery of those vehicles, was the state going to say we won't pay? Or was the state just going to be? Please.
I'll come to you, Prof. You have your certificate.
And so that is why you pay and you deal with the person who committed you to that fraudulent contract. No. You understand? If the thing is fraudulent, you, the state, have inherited a contract, a fraudulent contract. You have obligation in that contract to execute. But it was your officer who committed you to that. You execute that obligation and punish the person. If your son, please, I don't know what you guys do this thing. If your son is going to turn over somebody's property, maybe run over, knock somebody's car, okay? Do you say, oh, it's my son, is underage and whatnot, and so therefore that crime didn't occur? He didn't damage your property? He did. You deal with your son, but you fix the person's damage. So if Sedinam has committed the state to a certain cost, and Ken Ofori-Atta inheriting that contract, or Maslog inheriting that, and has obligation in that contract to execute, and you execute that, and you punish your son, or you punish Sedinam. But you cannot tell me that because Ken has paid that, Sedinam should walk free. Where is that logic coming from? Where is that logic coming from? Where is that coming from? I don't get it.
Okay.
So number two, if you are measuring on that, we'd grant that. But about the other payments, the Obatampa one, okay? What is the defect with that? There was a money advanced to microfinance of Batampa, and then the board of the microfinance states that the interest at 24% is too high. They can't pay. So they won't advance with a business, and so they will return the money. They want to issue check. You say no, they should bring cash.
All these are in the court records.
You selectively didn't read that. Anyway, I'll give it to you to read.
Yes,
anyway.
Please refer to the records.
You don't have anything.
When I was talking, I'll give you page number, the volume. You are not.
No, which part of the
records
are here. No, hold on.
I'll send it to you and you read it once I finish. Everything you were reading, nobody asked you to give it to them. But here's the thing. I don't know. Is Prof here to cheerlead or what? Prof is just here cheerleading. What's happening? It's just cheerleading. You know, so I am saying that she wants, they want check to be issued. You said no. You wanted cash. Cash was brought at Bachona. You received the thing. Okay? And there is a letter showing your acknowledgement of receipt of that amount in cash. There's receipt.
Letter by who?
By the CEO, which is what they're arguing that she then was made to prove that indeed she wrote that letter. And I'm saying that is this administrative process. You occasion the submission or the return of the funds not in check, and the question is why? Why was it not in check? You gave it to them in check and you want to receive cash. And so the cash came to you, you issue a letter to acknowledge receipt, and then somehow in court you say that you didn't author that letter. But now, hold on. Now, the question is that 500,000 returned to the account of Maslog? Forget about whether there's a letter, I wrote it, I didn't write it. The microfinance has on 2 occasions when they have been written to indicated that they have returned the money. To who? To who? You see, and so you are trying to say that that money is lost to the state, and because there's a letter she said I didn't write it, so that money should be allowed to be dissipated, and nobody should be held accountable for it.
But you see,
I'm not arguing law. I'm telling you the politics of the matter, the basis of why we are dissipating state resources, and you are saying and using courtroom matters to say that that money that we know is lost to the state. Somebody should be freed on the basis of you reading some courtroom document. But meanwhile, we have lost the money. We have lost the money. And our commitment is not court document. Our commitment is our money. Where is the money? The money is gone. And you are reading court document to prove to me that the person should not be held accountable. Meanwhile, the money is gone. We're not interested in courtroom matters. Of course, nobody wants to put Sedinam in court if we have our money. So it is not witch hunt. Our money is missing.
Which money?
I'm talking to you about the 500,000. And we can go in all the cases.
But
number 2. Now, please,
number 2, 4 times.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
not number
This is the
two.
fourth number two.
You see, when I tell you that Prof is here essentially to cheerlead, I don't understand why you bring Prof. All he's to do is quarterbacking for energy.
No. When he was his turn to speak,
American football.
because I will come to him. Because I asked you, hold on, let him focus. I asked you a question about the specific letter that you referenced.
Yes.
Based on the court records, and that's why I can understand why you are being directed to look at the court records. Okay. Because if you have it, then maybe when you refer to it, it would help us.
Which
all.
letter you're talking about?
The
one that she was supposed to have written to acknowledge receipt.
The only evidence tying her based on the court records, and I'm still directing you. Do you have the records?
You quote your thing. I'll share what I have with you.
The only evidence tying her to it was that letter she supposedly signed.
But that's what I'm referring to.
So what when I asked you the question, you said the one the MD of Obatampa wrote.
No. Says she, as CEO of the company, she wrote that letter to acknowledge the organization only wrote to say that money, they had returned it.
But she said cannot vouch for the signature, whether it was
No, set it up. I mean, that was the case, what he read. That
no,
in
that's
court,
what is in the court.
Wait. In court, the issue that the proof, the burden of proof was reversed to her was in the case of that letter. For her to prove whether or not she wrote that letter, and she said she didn't write the signature, may look like hers, but she didn't sign it. But meanwhile, there's a letter acknowledging the payment. And I'm telling you that fundamentally, the Obatampa people said they have returned the money. We have not seen the money. The only proof that the money somehow, we have not seen it, and so therefore we shouldn't hold anybody accountable for it, is that Set It Up says that she didn't sign that letter to acknowledge the receipt of the money. So the question fundamentally is that, where is the money? The people say they have returned the money. The investigation shows the money is not in our account.
But you see,
so where is the money? That's a fundamental question.
Of
we haven't seen. Please don't be telling me about law.
I'm coming.
The money is missing. Can you tell me? Can you tell me? Can you tell me?
No. Politics.
But of course, Eddie, we are not. Here is not courtroom.
Hold on.
Here is not courtroom. No. Here is not courtroom. If you want to review, you go to the court. But here, because our commitment here is to find that our resources are not dissipated. And the proof here is that the money.
How do we find it? Because and that's what. Hold on.
Was it tried by the mob? Was it tried by the mob?
You are not ready for us to discuss this question. That's fine answer. What is mob justice? Where you, Prof, are partnering against one person, you are calling the one person a mob. You are calling the one person a mob. How can one person be a mob?
Because you are asking questions for us to find resources missing. We cannot do that without understanding what the position of the court was.
What is your confusion? What is your confusion?
I'm asking the question that the presumption of innocence doesn't ask an accused to clear her name.
Yeah.
It asks the state to establish guilt.
Okay. So what's your point? This is the thing I'm reading, where you can see the matter relating to the bachelor thing. Yeah.
So then why are you asking about
the judgment?
Who?
Yes. So that's where I'm referring the matter from. The bachelor thing.
That was the case of the prosecution.
No, this is a judgment. Yes. So, but that's the prosecution case. That's what we are looking at.
Proceed.
The prosecution.
You proceed.
But is it not the prosecution who says?
And then there's a defense.
Let him.
Oh my God! It's just clearly that you don't want us to discuss this issue. You are enabling it, and it's fine. Go ahead.
When will they finish?
No,
if you stop cheerleading, Prof, if you stop cheerleading and allow us to talk, if you stop that,
he's had his turn, spoken, and he's doing.
No,
how many minutes?
I gave him the second to respond to, and the first I timed him 6 minutes. Please end on the point you were making.
Alfred, we must be careful how we engage these matters, how we inform our citizens about wrongs that are done. When we make it about legal technicalities, meanwhile, monies are lost to the state. And we just come and speak high languages and position ourselves as though that we know more than the public. When in fundamental terms, our resources have been dissipated. It doesn't sit well with me when you argue to tell me that somebody commits a state to a certain cost, and because the person commits us to a certain cost, another person pays for it, that person ought to be exonerated. I don't understand it.
Okay.
Number two.
No,
that was the number two I wanted to advance, and then they keep.
Please.
5 times so much.
In ever we say Anyagba Duagba.
Duagba. We complain for you. Don't
worry. Anyagba Waboka.
It's difficult.
Yeah, the market hard.
But you see, my surprise here.
Don't. Please.
My surprise here. My surprise here is Martin Kpebu. As for Prof, he's here to cheerlead, so I'm not worried so much. But my surprise is Martin Kpebu, who on the back of NDC's victory was put in a certain group of oral to recover. Okay? And to recover loot.
No, to just take complaints.
No.
As a preparatory group.
No.
We are
for the recovery of loot.
Yes. So what is different?
So what's your point?
So it.
Yes.
Alfred.
Don't distract me.
Today,
Please.
It's not every day.
You
have to choose your fights carefully.
No.
But you see, when I feel this way, what is happening? Alfred,
speak to the issue. I have held everybody.
I am saddened. I am saddened because we are making light of a matter that matters to Ghanaians. People are dying. In fact, in this case, there were market people who were supposed to have benefited from some relief. Women in Kantamanto and the rest. Those monies never got to them. We are talking about the loss of resource to the state.
Never got to them.
Yes. We are talking about loss of resources of the state. And what Eduji and Lawyer Kpebu are doing, were aided by their principal cheerleader, Prof. Jampo, is to make light of this matter.
Okay.
The state has lost resources. People ought to be held accountable.
Right.
The NDC standard is that their people are above the law, and so they will use legal technicalities to clear them. Eduji, the Article 19.1 that you said, okay, I can read that, which you said that trumps Section 31.2, which sets a standard, and it is clear that you cannot overturn a judgment on mere claims of defect, has been occasioned. Now, a whole judgment has been overturned just because they go to a technical error, which technical error does not explain that the resources in question have been lost to the state.
All right.
The resources themselves have been lost to the state, and you are using technicality to absolve the individual who occasioned that loss. Right. I find that very scandalous. Well, I find that hard to believe when Martin Kpebu is one of the persons promoting that.
All right. So, you see, as we await how this appeal will go, the question I asked, which...
You asked Lawyer Kpebu. No, please. You grant me this one second. I want to ask a question. I
actually granted you a lot. And it is because...
Don't be doing this glaring bias things, though. It is too glaring that you are biased, Alfred.
The evidence is clear for us all to see.
It is too glaring.
I think that the time...
It is too glaring. I am asking just a simple question. I'm asking just a simple question. Whilst Lawyer Kpebu is answering.
Just call Kpebu.
It's okay. It's okay, no problem. Let me indulge you. The point is that I will want him to explain. The Attorney General filed a stay of execution, okay, to that appeal. Maybe Eduji can weigh into that. Is that a regular process that will file a stay of execution following the appeal that Sedinam succeeded in getting? She's been discharged and acquitted. Then the Attorney General goes to file stay of execution. Is that regular?
Okay, thank you.
Is that part of our legal process?
Prof hasn't spoken.
No, but you want to. I want him to answer.
I will have him answer. Okay. But I want Professor Jampo to speak on this issue. Prof. Thank you.
All right.
Because when Prof is done, I'll just take the...
Thank you. I think that generally, we as a people had come to a certain conclusion that corruption had festered so much in the lead up to the 2024 elections. And one of the reasons why some of us actively spoke in favor of President Mahama's presidency, attempt to be elected as president was the belief that given the promise of oral, we'll be able to make some giant strides in the fight against corruption. And so the expectations among the generality of Ghanaians are high when it comes to matters of corruption. And in my view, I am not so surprised that then when issues of corruption are brought to the fore and people are held before the court processes, and then we are told that they've been convicted and there's been an appeal and they've been acquitted and discharged, definitely it will raise some eyebrows because people are tired of corruption and they want something drastic to be done. So I'm not surprised about the posturing of a section of the people about the fact that Sedinam has been acquitted and discharged. But you see, I'm a student of institutions, and I believe that the rules of the game must always be followed. Not the talks of the game, but the rules of the game must always be followed. Sitting here, I think around the table, there is an agreement that charges that were filed, some of the charges that were filed against Sedinam were defective. What does the rule say if charges are defective? What are we supposed to do? What's the court supposed to do? Number one. Number two, around the table and reading portions of the judgment, I am hearing that it appears that she was presumed even guilty before the case was tried. That is number two. Number three, I'm also hearing that the prosecution, though the woman may not be innocent, the prosecution failed to prove beyond all reasonable doubt.
But who else has that responsibility?
That she was guilty. And I've heard that in criminal prosecutions, you would have to try as much as possible to ensure that all doubts around the matter is cleared. I mean, if as a people, we don't want this, let's say we don't want it, once we suspect, even if there are doubts, let's throw it into jail. But until we change that rule that governs our legal processes, then as a student of institutions, I'm saying we are bound to go by that. And so my view is that looking at all that have happened and the kinds of things that are being said here, it appears to me that some shoddy work was done in trying to trial the woman. Some shoddy work was done. And if that is the case, we ask ourselves, is she entitled to an appeal? If she's entitled to an appeal, what are the judges expected to do? Are they supposed to look at the facts of the matter, or they are supposed to
do the work
just listen to public sentiments and keep her, in incarceration? I believe that it is important for us to look at our whole legal processes, once again, and to appreciate the rules that governs the way they conduct affairs. I'm hearing here that apart from the charges that were defective, that were sidelined, the charges that were supposed to stand were also evaluated. And it was based on all these that a judgment that sought to acquit and to discharge him, was given. Now I'm hearing a certain sentiment that, look, then the optics may not be right. How come you brought her to Ghana, you put her in jail, and then she went for appeal, and then immediately she went for appeal, she's been acquitted and discharged. The optics may not be right. But I'm saying, is there no cause? Are there no reasons? Ghana is a liberal state. Ghana is not a communitarian state. Now, under a liberal state, okay, in a liberal state, the right of the individual is paramount. Okay, and so you do not sacrifice the right of the individual under the exigencies or just to please the optical preferences of the community or of the rest of the people. Under a liberal state, you do not sacrifice the rights of the individual because of the optical preferences. Okay, because I'm hearing people saying, I think...
No, hold on. He needs some education on what optical preference is.
Okay.
Or on what optical preference is.
Okay. So I'll explain. So I'm saying that I've heard people saying that the optics may not be good. Okay? The optics may not be good. That, I mean, maybe she shouldn't have been acquitted and should have been discharged for the sake of the optics. And I'm saying that if it is true that the charges were defective, if it is true that the prosecution could not establish, beyond all reasonable doubt that she was guilty, then what does the rule of the game say? Should we say that, look, there are doubts, but we should still incarcerate her? Is that what the law or the rules of the game, is that what the rules of the game say? In my view, these are lawyers. They've been to courts, they've been in court, they've practiced for a long time. And I've heard them say that once somebody is able to raise some doubt about whatever you are saying, then they believe that it is better to let a guilty person go scot-free, okay, than to punish an innocent person. That is what they say. And I'm saying, as a society, if we don't like this, let us change the rules.
Right.
But until we change the rule becomes the rule. And so, in my view, it is not about pleasing. Yes, I'm interested in letting people know and letting people see that the right thing is being done. I am interested in every fight against corruption. And we must not only fight it, we must be seen to be fighting it. But in showing people you are fighting corruption, you must also not close your eyes to the rules of the game. And so if she was truly entitled to an appeal, and she went on appeal, and the trial justices found out that, yes, she had, there was a basis for her acquittal and discharge, so be it. Thankfully, those of us who are not happy about what has happened, we can find solace in the fact that the Attorney General has also said that, well, he wants to seek a review of the appeal at the Supreme Court so that a certain finality is brought to this particular matter. And so for me, all is not lost. We will have to respect then the due processes. Let the facts of the matter again be presented to the Supreme Court. And let us test what the appeals court said and see whether the appeals court justices were right or wrong. Until that, I think the bit about always criticizing if it doesn't go in your favor, and then praising if it goes in your favor, shows a certain level of, well, I don't want to use the word, but we've had these justices of the Supreme Court, of the Court of Appeal, of the High Court, giving certain ruling against even the existing regime, and then some people praised it. And then when they give another ruling, it goes against those praise singers. Then they said, well, we want to organize demonstrations and we want to do all manner of things. Look, everybody in Ghana has the right to demonstrate. Okay, about some of these things, I believe that
as we respect due processes and as we respect rule of law, we also have the right to do some of these things to show dissent. Go on demonstration if you want to do that. But the point is that the security agencies and the law enforcement agencies also have the right to protect the peace of the country. You have the right to demonstrate. People have the right to also move. And so I've heard that rather than allowing the processes to go on, allowing the Supreme Court to also have a bite on this particular matter, some people also want to say that, well, they also want to demonstrate. It is within their right, and we must respect that. But your right to demonstrate must not stampede people's right to also move about. The right to demonstrate does not mean that you can also disturb the peace of the country. And so, demonstrate, but the law enforcement agencies must also ensure that there is peace and tranquility. Basically, Alfred, this is no, please. When you were talking, you were quiet, but you keep giving me signals.
I actually come to you because you and I have spoken, and you know exactly what.
Well, in bringing my short take on this matter.
Extremely long take.
This. How many minutes?
Hold on. No, he knows what we have spoken. I
want to conclude by saying that, you see, I say I dream Boniba Equatrimo. You see, in criminal prosecutions, I would urge, and I've heard Kofi Bentel making a point about those who prosecuted the matter. I think that if you are too much in a hurry to get people behind bars and you don't look at the facts of the matter very well, then you may have some of these things happening. And this should be a lesson to all of us, and especially our current Attorney General and prosecutors. As we go on the tangent of recovering all loot, and as we go on the tangent of ensuring that those who have drained our resources and have embarked on corrupt activities that have brought us into a situation where we've had to put in place, oral, let us ensure that the evidence that we look for or the evidence that we put together are so watertight. Okay, the evidence are so watertight that once they nail you, then you wouldn't have an instance of people coming to say that, well, we raised reasonable doubt and so we are acquitting and discharging. It's important. And so that's how come, once again, I'll appeal to those Ghanaians who are thinking that oral is taking a long time. It is important that this particular matter serves as a lesson to all of us, that as the Attorney General and his deputy go to court and as they gather their evidence, it is important that we give them, we appreciate the fact that they will have to ensure that the evidence that they are putting together are so watertight that once they say you are guilty, no appeals court will be able to overturn, the judgment of the High Court.
Thank you. Now there was a question, and no, I'll come to you. Yes, I'll come to you. But Matibebo, quickly, because I'm taking the final comment from both of you, and then I'll round up. On the question of I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to you.
You saw how I was quiet
on the question of whether
Prof. Jampo to speak.
This particular
you must ensure that when I speak, you let him be quiet.
Yes.
Okay.
Your body language. You must ensure that. The question.
Your body language.
Hold on, please.
But you get my point.
He doesn't get it. Your body language was not quiet.
The question that I asked
and you are listening, you are watching. When at the end you are talking about people who disrupted the program, you know he's the one. He's the one.
Please.
Don't be calling my name and say, please. The man is disrupting me and you kept quiet. When he spoke, I was quiet.
Okay,
you didn't take note of that.
Yes. The question that I asked, which Ziagba talked about, the understanding that he didn't have because of the perspective that he was coming from, the logic of it, that if you sign a contract and no payments were made, there was a detection of something wrong with that contract. And as a result, renegotiated. does the burden and then payment made,
Yeah.
even though in the first instance, the inflated contract as identified, no payments were made. Does the burden of the wrongdoing still rest on the person who signed the initial contract that payments were not made?
It doesn't. It doesn't rest on that person because you see, they said, the moment you found out that there were misrepresentations, mistakes, or any other things that make you illegality, so many reasons that make the contract subject to cancellation, you had good grounds. Cancel it. Cancel it. The moment you found out that the state was going to be fleeced, cancel it. But Ofori-Atta chose to renegotiate. Look, see how many arbitration cases we went and we won. Look at the famous ones. Some involving billions of Ghana cedis, even internationally. We canceled the contracts and we won. If we had gone to arbitration and they had held the contract and then we came to renegotiate, right, mitigated it, then we can say whatever we still lost, we will saddle Sedinam with it. But to the extent that we didn't cancel, we just renegotiated, the axe falls on Ofori-Atta's head. Straight.
God.
Please, straight. Ask Godfrey Dami, how many international arbitrations didn't we win? And you see, we forget that the state has enormous power. Any businessman worth his salt, and the company still operates in Ghana. The moment you catch the businessman fleecing the state, and you tell him, my brother, please, this thing is way overboard. We will give you what is reasonable. If you know what is good for you, any businessman will take it and walk so that he gets to do business with you. You chose not to cancel, okay, or do what you think is the proper price, but you renegotiated and now seek to saddle her with the excess. That is wrong. It is wrong. So it's definitely on Ofori-Atta's head. That incestuous relationship and the renegotiation. The part I'm interested in, ADG, you know the case better than us. ADG, that record, the part I'm most interested in is that the people who came to do renegotiation for Ofori-Atta, it was Bedi Etuo's law firm. You know that. That is what is that part that irks me. Is that part that I'm most interested in? Incestuous relationship. Very incestuous. Bedi Etuo negotiating with Ofori-Atta. Bedi Etuo negotiating with Ofori-Atta.
I'm in a very good boy.
Oh, come on.
No.
Are we kids? Are we kids?
Is that negotiation?
That's why I'm most interested in Ofori-Atta negotiating with Bedi Etuo.
Okay, so
credibility.
Credibility.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Credibility.
On the matter of the Article 19 that he references.
Credibility.
No,
yes, so I want to respond to the article. The Article 19.1, Article 19.1.
He didn't answer my question.
That way I referenced about. You see, if you look at the Constitution, it says that a person be informed immediately in the language he understands in detail of the nature of the offense charged. This particular provision was picked from the 1960 Constitution as well. And so many years ago, our superior courts have had a benefit of going through
what you said.
Oh,
you quoted 19.1D to disprove the superiority of 31.2.
No, so that is what I'm coming. Oh,
but then what you read there does not go to it.
No, your position was that a defect can be cured because the provision you referenced, 33.1.2, can cure that, and that you have to go for what? A retrial or something. And I'm saying that provision, in the face of the 1992 Constitution, Article 19.1D, it does not make any sense because this is what the Supreme Court said, reference that provision. And again, I want to refer to the reasoning of my Lord Justice Kwegan. And if you look at the decision of Osei Kudjo II and the Republic, Criminal Appeal Number 2, 2000, delivered on the 11th of July, 2008. This is what he says. Because of the view I hold on the issue of defective charge sheets, where the particulars are defective, I need not examine cases like Andor and the Republic, the state versus Akwewa, the lines of cases on defective charges, I say so because I fully endorse the progressive views of Heffron Benjamin, J, expressed in the case of the Osei and the Republic, where the learned judge held that Article 20, Clause 2 of the Constitution 1969 requires that every person charged with a criminal offense be informed immediately in a language he understands and in detail of the nature of the offense charged. The nature of the offense, an omission of an essential ingredient in the particulars of offense sin against the Constitution. And a conviction based on such a charge cannot be upheld under any circumstance. This is the decision of the Supreme Court.
Okay.
The appeals court is bound by the decision of the Supreme Court. You have not offered any contrary reasoning. And you say we are not doing law. We are doing mob justice. I cannot associate with that poverty. I cannot associate it with a situation destitute of law and logic on the commitment. This is where it becomes a bit more bizarre. And I'll give you two examples.
Quickly.
If you recall, City and Country Ways. Sinakwebu, you remember?
Yes.
AMA and City and Country Ways.
Yeah.
There's a company, the Anans company had a contract to do waste collection in the country. In 2001, when the NPP came to power, they said, look, Ediana got that contract without fulfilling the various procurement rules, and that the contract sinned against the Public Procurement Act at that time, and the relevance laws of this republic. The matter went right to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, contracts made contrary to statutes are unenforceable. In the specific case of this, the only reason why the court asked that payment be done was based on quantum merit.
Absolutely.
Because work has been done.
Yes.
In this specific case, and if you look at the reason of the Court of Appeal, the Court of Appeal said your accusation against SEDI is that these things were done contrary to law, and for which reason you have charged her having committed a republic. She never paid anything. Now, if the thing was contrary to law, and listen to the reason of the Court of Appeal, if the thing was done contrary to law, on what basis did you, the first prosecution witness, together with the finance minister, authorize the payment? And you even come to the court as a prosecuting witness. And
that's the I say first prosecution.
First prosecution witness is Stephen Amwa. So under cross-examination, lawyer for SEDI then asked him, this contract, who did the renegotiation? And everybody knows. So when a contract is renegotiated, the renegotiated contract takes the place of the original. What it means is that the original contract is no longer relevant. So, for all intent and purpose, the contract based on which the payment was advanced was a contract negotiated by the very people prosecuting her. It didn't make logical sense.
Okay,
but I just want to refer something on the record. Oh, Sina, so
you would have allowed anybody else. You would have allowed anybody else. Alfred.
Thank you very much. So, Alfred, I have no doubt that our listeners are confused with all that is going on with Eduji. But it's my time. I beg you. So, Alfred, if you are chief executive of a company, and one of your officers goes to do a transaction on behalf of the company, something that should have cost 1,000 cedis, the person goes and negotiates for it to be 3,000 cedis with the intent of being paid the extra. Okay?
Intent.
Please.
Hey, senior.
Okay, now, and execute a contract to that effect, binding the company.
Yes.
All right? And therefore, it's going to go ahead, and then you find out. When you find out, you are like, this is a crime. So, because he has bound the company, and the company can be sued, because that officer is a proper agent of the company.
Yeah.
What you do is you say, okay, dear company, don't sue. You renegotiate, take it off, and then you pay and remove your liability. but that person's crime is established. Because, hey, please, I beg. In this case, Alfred, I'm talking to you. Alfred. Let me continue. Alfred, I beg you. Tell them to keep quiet so I can continue. Okay, it was tell them you said there was no PPA approval. Let me finish. No, don't deceive us. Our law, there is no PPA approval. You said the law was not followed. So you cancel it. You cancel it. If you choose to renegotiate, it's on your head. Can you tell him to keep quiet? No, you said there was no PPA approval, etc. Yes. It was an illegal contract. How do you go and renegotiate it? Oh, please, please, spare us this. I will spare us this. Just spare us this. It's enough of the politics. Enough of the politics. You go and sit there and do an essential relationship.
Politics you are using to clear your people. We are talking politics.
You say an illegal contract. Why don't you cancel it?
By way of
politics. Something is illegal. Cancel it.
Your politics clearing your people. Anytime I am talking, anytime he's talking, then there is a mob. Why?
Let me hear.
There is a mob.
Hold on.
Why?
Hold on. Mr.
You go. One person. You and
whatever you do, he will still
save energy. I maintain everything I said in our Act 29. Dear listeners, there is something called inchoate offenses. Crimes that are committed and are not completed.
You will not charge for
Exactly.
Hold on.
Are you not going to refile charges? We are filing charges. Wasn't the charge?
Thank you.
It's not everything you should try to spin.
The charge against Eddie was not anything.
When is your turn?
We should rather say that to you because you are trying to make us believe that the state has not lost resources. The state has lost resources.
You had the opportunity to cancel it and you chose to go and
do it. You had the opportunity to cancel it. How can you cancel it?
I needed that contract. That was your word.
It was not illegal.
That's why you said.
The reference you made to statute is not the same thing here.
It is not. You don't even know the charge. You don't know the charge.
Okay, both of you are not being heard.
What was the charge?
You are not being heard. Thank you. Mr. Benton, I want you to...
In our laws, Act 29, there are crimes that are called inchoate offenses. Which means you set out to commit the crime and you sufficiently get to the point where you can be charged for it. An attempt to commit a certain crime in Act 29, in our law, attempt, if you sufficiently proceed, it can be held against you and you'll be charged. A preparation to commit a crime constitutes an offense that you can be held for. Okay? If you abet a crime, somebody is committing it and you help it, okay, you are liable. If you conspire with somebody to commit a crime, you are liable. And in all or most of these things, you will be charged just like the person who committed the crime or did the crime. What we must let everybody understand is that many times our government officials, the thieves in power, go and do all these deals with the intent of kickbacks or later on getting whatever it is and all those things. Now, when government changes hands, then we see the length of that frog. Many people, okay, would have gone to the point. Today, the present minister is doing something which I like. He's asking all the chief executives to seek appointment before they commit the government.
That's a commitment authorization.
Yes. Do you know why? Because no matter how bad the deal is, when you commit the government, the government has to pay.
Was that the law there?
I beg, please.
That's why
so what everybody must understand is this. If a public official proceeds to commit a crime but does not finish, there are situations where that crime can be held against that person. They'll be charged, accused, tried, jailed for that reason. So please, all the plenty talking that we are dealing with, okay, we need to situate it. If indeed she didn't commit the crime, she didn't go and buy things at 3, 4, 5 the price, and we did not have to pay, it would be very easy to cancel it, and I think that would have been done. The reason why it is renegotiated is because it is not easy to cancel, so you renegotiate it to lessen the incidence on the states. Thank you.
And assuming that
they should read Act 29.
The people watching you this morning,
they should read. I'll give you the sections. Do you want the sections?
Are very informed.
Act 29. Read section 19.
You see,
read sections 20 and 22 for abetment. Read sections 23. He's making a point. From section 19 all the way down. In fact, start from section 18. At 29, from section 18 all the way to 25.
Okay.
Done. You will see inchoate offenses there.
Let me come in. You see, we are not permitted to misinform people.
When I'm quoting the law?
We are not permitted. There was a specific charge relating to the buses. Count 79. Particulars of offense.
That should be 78 because of the mistake.
Exactly. So they say six. No, this is it.
Yes.
It says contravention of Procurement Act, contrary to section 92(1) and 41 of the Procurement Act, that you procure the supply without satisfying the prescribed conditions. This is the charge. No intent, no inchoate offense, substantive offense. And lawyer, you sit here and mislead the public.
What did I say which is wrong?
An inchoate offense.
Tell me one thing I said which was wrong.
Is that the learning you have received?
Tell me one thing I said which was wrong. I said our law. When you talk about somebody renegotiated something, so it's not that.
Now, we will wait for how
I mean, you are desecrating the law.
Proceed.
This appeal is a ruse.
All right. There are a number of people
it's
who have
a
sent
ruse.
messages.
It's a face-saving ruse.
Some of, in fact, some of the questions asked in the message.
I think I've come to the conclusion that you guys lost the election because
Thank you. Gentlemen, hold on. This one says, Dr. Kumsin says, good morning. Greetings to the panel. It's sad how politicians and political actors have managed to make truth subjective in this country. You say, this Dr. Kumsin from UCC. This one here from Professor Stephen Kweku-Asare, good morning. And I reference his summary of this case, which I referenced earlier, and he's watching us right now. It says, this is not the first time the Court of Appeal has set aside a criminal case because the trial court improperly shifted to the accused the burden of proving a negative that the law requires the prosecution to prove. Where the prosecution alleges that an accused acted without authorization, it is for the prosecution, not the accused, to prove the absence of authorization. That recurring error underscores the need for continual judicial and prosecutorial training in the law of evidence, particularly on the allocation of legal and evidential burdens. I think Mr. Bento referenced that about the quality of our prosecution. It's important.
On both sides.
Yes.
You want equalization.
Gentlemen, let me finish. Please. Koku Abochi also says, PW1 evidence further confirmed that the appellant did not authorize payment for the 350 vehicles during her tenure as Chief Executive Officer of Maslock. It was PW1, that is in this case, Dr. Stephen Amwa, who, after assuming office,
maybe now the state can take an action against Tika.
Let me finish. Renegotiating the unit price in 2017, authorized payments to Mark Autos. Those payments continued in 2018, by which time the appellant no longer held office. If, as the prosecution suggested, the contract lacked the necessary approval or ministerial authorization, it is difficult to see how Stika, that is Dr. Stephen Amwa, could lawfully have proceeded to perform it and authorize payment under it. Thank you. This one also, Adam Senanu, good morning. He says that I don't see politics laced in this. We must wait to see how this appeal will proceed. We are all watching with keen interest. Thank you. Let's go into the next issue.
Just one sentence.
Look at what the judge said. Look, paragraph 117. It says that, it says that if, as the prosecution suggested, the contract lacked the necessary approval or ministerial authorization, it is difficult to see how PW1, that's Dr. Stephen Amwa Stika, could lawfully have proceeded to perform it and authorize payments under it. The prosecution therefore failed to prove.
That's what I just read.
You said that it lacked authorization, it's illegal, and you are paying.
That's what I just read. Now, this is key point. We're live. Thank you. We're live on Voice of London Radio and Voice of London Television as well. Let's go to the next issue. The committees. No, please.
The mob. The lead mob.
Let's be decorous. Let's please. Thank you.
Oh my
Now,
goodness.
the committee's recommendations, that is the Constitutional Review Committee's recommendations, some of which falls on the matter of the delegate system, because the Attorney General, Professor Jampo, said that outcome found some relevance in the Constitutional Review Committee's recommendations, so that will tie that into it as well. But let me just remind you that, as always, the key point is brought to you by Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner, and GASEM. GASEM is the nation builder. From now until the end of October 2028, Bank of Africa is offering short-term loans on very slim rates to salaried workers. We understand you have urgent needs to sort out. That's why we give you that quick turnaround time. Whether it is school fees, prospectus, or car maintenance, or that much needed family vacation, Bank of Africa will sort you out fast. Visit their nearest branch or contact them on this number, 0244 338 226, 0244 338 226. Sometimes all you need is a quick fix. Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. And GASEM have been building the foundations of the nations for decades, and they continue to evolve to meet your building needs. GASEM is the nation builder. These are the recommendations of the Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh-led Constitutional Review Committee, of which the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, presented the government position paper on. One of them is the matter of the term limit for the president. The committee recommended, and they believe the 5-year term would give government more time to implement long-term policies while preserving the constitutional safeguard against indefinite tenure. Let's take a listen to the Attorney General on the matter of this one, this term limit that they said government agrees with this recommendation. Take a look.
To extend the term of office of the president from 4 years to 5 years, with the term of parliament extended to correspond with this. Our thinking is practical. Under the current 4-year cycle, the early months of every administration are consumed by transition matters, and the final year is largely consumed by elections. A 5-year term provides a more realistic time frame for the formulation, implementation, and assessment of government policy.
This is a position that you say you disagree with, that the government doesn't need more time. The argument that was made was that this 4-year system, the first year, government is, whoever is elected president is forming his government. He effectively has only 2 years to govern. The last year is for elections. Why do you disagree with this 5-year two-term limit?
Okay, good. Number one, in our history, in the Constituent Assembly, okay, they voted on it, and those who wanted 5 years lost. You know, it's in we refer to it previously. Those who wanted 5 years lost. Fast forward, that's in adopting the 1992 Constitution. So from that one, we come to the Professor Albert Fiadjo Commission report. That one too, when he finished in his commission report, those who wanted 5 years lost. So it's surprising that this matter has made its way once again to the H. Kwesi Prempeh report, and this time the president says we want to go for 5 years. No. Now let's come to practical sides. This matter of forming government. The Supreme Court held in the J.H. Mensah versus Attorney General case that when the president comes into office and he appoints ministers, they have the right to act for a reasonable period before they are confirmed by Parliament. So the vetting can come later. That's what the Supreme Court held in J.H. Mensah versus Attorney General. I think that's the 98 decision, because I think the J.H. Mensah cases are too early. So that's it. And it's not only in Ghana. You go to the UK, they do the same. You go to the US, they do the same. You can act. So you are appointed as an acting minister. Act. So maybe we can choose by convention whether we want to do 6 months. Some places, the US, in some instances, you can act up to 300 days, almost close to a year. So it's for us to choose. But my key point is that the Supreme Court has settled this by saying that when a president appoints ministers, they can act for a reasonable period. The lawyers, some people read it and they don't see it. Please, if you want to find it, go to the last 2 lines of Justice Akwe's judgment. You find it there. Right. People have read it and, sometimes, we are looking for quick fixes. So you keep reading, you don't see. Just the last bit, that's where they held. That a minister can act for a reasonable period before he is vetted. Please, so let's take it. Let's take it. Then number 2, in terms of knowing who to appoint. But that one in opposition, that's how come we have shadow spokespersons. So there's a spokesperson on finance, etc.
So you should have formed your government before going into the election.
Exactly. Don't come and saddle us with this. Can you imagine?
A lot goes on after you win the elections. Well, the lobbying and then all of that.
Yes.
You have to.
So the shadow people can start, and that's why there is opportunity for reshuffle. Let the shadow people start, and then you can reshuffle later, right? Can you imagine this 10 years? Can you imagine Akufo-Addo in office for 10 years? Would have died. Akufo-Addo instead of 8 years, 2 more. 8 years, that's my opinion. Can you imagine?
This obsession, don't use exception.
No, it's not an exception, so don't worry, let me land.
This obsession is...
Can you imagine we're here at Akufo-Addo? We're here at Akufo-Addo, we suffer.
Please, John Mahama, for example, why are you Akufo-Addo?
But we've not yet seen his 4 years. We've barely done 4 years.
It's a perfect example.
It's a wrong assumption. But in 2016, we're not happy with JM and we booted him out. So this 4 years is yet to finish. So we can't, you see. So even JM himself, in 2012 to 2016, Ghanaians, you see all the things we said. We're not happy. We want a higher standard. Okay. So he himself, the record, the one he completed, was not good enough.
Right.
Then Akufo-Addo came and made it worse. So now JM, we call this one what? His legacy term. So far, by our own records, 8 plus 8 plus 4, 12 years. We're not happy with the leaders. JM is now coming to redeem himself. He has not finished the redemption. He's barely gone halfway. So in actual fact, JM should not, to be very honest with you, be the one leading these charges. I think JM was misled. He shouldn't have done this.
Misled to support
yes,
this?
Yes, he shouldn't have done that. Because his own 4 years that we kicked him out in 24, it was abysmal. It was abysmal. That's how we kicked him out. So he should not be the one leading these charges. If he had done very well in this. Yes,
but his cabinet. His cabinet.
Okay.
Yes.
It's his cabinet.
Prof, I'm going to come.
Right?
And the position.
Yes.
We're not happy.
That's government position.
We're not happy. So James should have seen that. It's not like, you see, let's get this in very clear. If we don't do this, politicians will take us for a ride. Look, listen. This thing, in 2016, we're not happy. The only reason now we went back for him is that Akufo-Addo couldn't do better. But that doesn't mean that what he did 2012 to 2016, we're happy with it. No, it's just because Akufo-Addo didn't do better. They were like, okay, Lai Momo, go for your old girlfriend, right? But it doesn't mean that we're happy. It doesn't mean so. Okay. So JM should not be the one leading this charge. I think he's been misled. This thing has been misled. Okay. When it goes to the referendum, they will lose on this point.
I see.
They will lose. It's not a good thing.
Thank you.
It's not a good thing. He's overestimated his popularity.
Prof, yes.
Well, that's why I'm going Alfred, I completely disagree with Martin on this particular term limits proposal from the Constitutional Review Committee. I think the idea that it was introduced by those whose recommendation led to the preparation of the Constitution and that some people voted on it and lost, that's not, we don't live in the past. Okay, we are looking at the practical realities and exigencies of the time today. Now, forming a government, in my view, is not an easy task. Martin talks about the fact that you may have shadow people who may be given the chance to act before people are selected and vetted and all that. But you read Plato. Governance of a developing country is too serious a business to be left into the hands of just anybody, shadow people. you have to vet, you have to be sure that, look, we are fighting the quagmires of poverty and underdevelopment. And so you just cannot just handpick and all that. So you have to undertake some security checks, background checks, review people's CVs, curriculum vitae, and look at the experiences and be sure that they warrant or merit certain positions before they are given. And in my view, this can practically take up to about one year. Now, the second year of a new government, the second year, you are going into district level elections. And you must pay attention to that. Okay? Because it also, I mean, the foundation of our governance must necessarily also rest on our local, government system. And so you must pay attention closely to what happens at the local, level. The third year, you are thinking about your own, if you are a leader or a president who may be going for a second term. The third year, you are thinking about your own flag bearership race. And I tell you, that kind of race, that internal contest sometimes is more divisive and more distracting and exacting even than the national election. And so the person focuses so much on that and governance suffers. The fourth year, you are seeking a re-election. It's an election year. And so I was not surprised that J. Kufuor, when he was exiting, made a proposal that it should be 7 years. And he said, yes, 7 years, but not starting with me. And I'm not sure that even this 5 years, President Mahama is saying that it should start with his regime and that it should be given an additional 1 year. That's not what he's saying. But in looking at the practical challenges and the practical realities, I would also go for an extension, so we get into the 5th year, so that people would have some time to prosecute their mandate and agenda. Because it takes, if you want to fix things and fix them well. Look, Martin, I don't know, I'm sure you've been rejecting the offers to help save, the country you are my friend, so I know what I'm talking about. But if you get in there and you truly want to fix things, you see that some of the things, they take a long time. You are trying to drum home a certain message of change, and people are used to doing things in a very bad, in a very wrong way, and that is what is ingrained in your psyche. And if you are changing, the more radical you are, the more radical a response you get from them opposing you. And so you have to foster your idea of change in a certain gradualist, using a certain gradualist approach with the view to ensuring that they buy into it. And it takes time. If we want to govern and govern well, yes, we must be able to balance the two. It's not about staying too much in power, because like you said, if you get the wrong leader and then you give him a lot of time, then it means you are perpetuating, you are prolonging harm on yourself. But at the same time, if you get a good leader who needs some time to fix things, we should be able to also allow that. So in my view, choosing between J. Kufuor's proposal for 7 years and then the current proposal for 5 years, I think that 5 years would be good. It will not give leaders too much time, okay? But at the same time, it is not also too short. And I think that is what I'll go for. But to say that we should throw it away simply because others voted for it in some time past, some 30 years ago. And Thank you. We may not be looking at the practical realities. So Perfect. Speak to those who are at the moment, in charge of governing the country, and they will tell you that some of these things that you have to do, it will require time.
I'm looking at the 5 minutes. Let me go to Mr. Yangba and then. No. Let me go up to you.
Fine, yes.
Okay, that's okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yangba. In the first place, again, my brother Martin, when you make wild statements like President Mahama was misled, I beg, tone down. President Mahama is the most experienced politician in his generation today in this country. Bar none. The only person who fell hard and managed to get back and re-enter the presidency. He's a nice guy, he looks cool and everything, but he's clearly a very astute person. So please, don't talk about he's been misled. I think he will own his decisions, however they turn out, all right? And to that extent, therefore, there must be good reason why he's concluded the way he's concluded. My problem, and I was thinking
Professor Jampo will speak to it. Maybe
No,
we should
generally, I mean, we'll get there.
Okay,
I mean,
we'll get
that's
there.
one, yeah, we'll get
But
there.
my problem first is with the whole issue of white paper. All right? I don't think that the executive must necessarily issue a white paper on work like what Prof. Prempeh has done.
No,
No,
it's a position paper. Not
I
a
know.
white.
I said I don't think
Can we
it is the
distinguish
best.
between the two? Because I was
Yeah.
also confused.
White
between-
paper, when you say commission of
you see,
inquiry
white paper,
under
we
278.
objected to it.
No, I
But
think
this
that's
one
what-
is
that's
No,
what
white
Laurent Gbagbo is
paper
explaining.
when it's under Article 278.
A commission of inquiry.
This one
But
is
this
not a
committee.
That's how can be
I
called
mean,
the position
The
paper.
government position.
Okay,
Thank you.
position paper. Sorry, I used white paper. The government didn't have any business declaring a position paper because what it does is it makes the constitutional review more or less an act of the executive. This is how we want it. This is what we want. This is what we agree with. This is what we don't agree with. And then you will run into problems because the executive should not be amending our constitution or be seen to be pushing it one way or the other. It should be a people's project. That's my point. And to the extent that it's a people's project, note, if you take this issue alone on the 5 years, it has been beaten and debated across the Fourth Republic with presidents who have been in office coming out and speaking. And Professor Prempeh will tell you how the debates were like. I have been involved in so many of them, and I've come to a conclusion. But the first thing I want to say is that people shouldn't think it's just a simple, straightforward thing and, oh, people are not doing a good job because they are... No, here's the thing. If you come into this presidency not prepared, like you're saying, shadow government, whatever it is, if you come in not prepared, that's saying you don't have a solid cabinet ready, your agendas and everything ready, hit the ground running. Donald Trump on his first day signed a series of executive orders and changed this country. First day, right after the inauguration, he went to office and signed them. That's prepared. Before they came into office, they published their project book, Project 2025 or something like that. You knew. Okay.
That's more like a manifesto of a sort.
Of a sort, but this is agendas they were going to execute. We should get to that point. But the point I want to make is, if you come into office unprepared, 5 years will not be enough. And it is not easy to, not that it's not easy, but our leaders have refused to do that work. I remember when Mr. Safo became finance minister, during the opposition time, he wasn't the spokesperson on finance.
True.
Another person was. Okay? Yeah. And so everybody was expecting that person would become the finance minister, and then it slipped. And Mr. Safo was a very good finance minister, an engineer, but clear, credentials in finance. Now, President Kufuor knew what he found. He knew what he saw. And when you get into government, you see all kinds of things in different lights. So there can be a bit of issue there, but that is what they must deal with. So I am of the view that our presidents, political parties, and systems must prepare before they come into office. But the fact of the matter is they don't.
But
for good or for bad.
I think
and
you concede that the lenses or what you see appears differently when you come into power than when you're in opposition.
But I'm saying
so
they should sharpen their vision because they are the ones in that space and should watch more, check more so that what they see will be at least as close as possible.
Okay.
But the point I'm making is that we have to deal with the fact that they don't come prepared. To that extent, therefore, if you don't come prepared, 5 years is not enough. If you come prepared, 4 years will be enough. But we deal with the fact that they don't come prepared. So, after a lot of debate, I've been in a few of them, I've come to this conclusion. That one, for our own sakes as a country, it does not help for us to leave the thing as it is when the people who have been under the sea tell you that the crocodile is suffering, like President Kufuor. So adding 1 year will not change much. 2, adding 1 year will remove every excuse. Like Professor Jampo said, it is not too much, it is not too little. But this time round, it will remove every excuse from anybody who says that I didn't have enough time. Because like I said, you should come prepared. If you didn't come prepared, we're giving you an extra year. The only argument I have heard against this is, oh, what if you end up with a bad president? Don't vote for a bad president. And to that extent too, we need to figure out. Exactly. Because of that, I didn't want to go there. How will you know and all those other things? So you see, when you have a problem, you don't do the same thing and hope that it will change. In my view, pros and cons both have cases, but it is better for us, give them that 1 extra year. Remove every excuse, whether you are prepared or you are not. That is enough time for you to do what you have to do. And definitely, let me add the last point, which was a very strong point in one of the debates I was in.
You've spoken very well.
One of the strongest points that came up in one of the debates, and it was as follows. Many, in fact, all of our presidents get a second term, even those who don't impress in their first term. And one of the excuses they give is that the time was too short. So almost all the time we give them the benefit of the doubt and give them a second term. When you put this 5-year in place, that excuse goes away. So you will get a situation where I said I was in a debate and I bought this because I think it made sense. After 5 years, if you don't impress us, you can't come back and tell us to give you a second term because that makes a decade of you that we are not impressed with. I do believe that if we implement this 5 years, we will start seeing one-term presidents. Because if you don't do the job in 4 years, you don't do it in the injury time of 5 years, it will be difficult for you to come back and say, give me another 5 years.
Professor Kwame Asante says, Alfred, please find out from Kofi Bento if a president can be prepared to appoint over 10,000 people before coming into office. That is a tough call to make.
No. So see, the president does not have to appoint everybody. He can't. Nobody can. You appoint your core cabinet.
To start.
Yes. And what Martin said about the acting is true and it's lawful. So, in fact, every cabinet has a kitchen cabinet. All right? The point I was making, which I can't explain too much, is that if they say they see things differently when they get into office, for me, it is anomalous. You are focused on this office for 4 years trying to come in. I think it's reasonable for us to ask you to be clear-eyed. And when it comes to picking, you can't pick the 10,000 people. You can pick 20 to start with and a few others. Because once you win, the party and other people will come in. Okay? It is reasonable to require that people who end up in the presidency do not need 1 year to pick their core team and then take the rest of the time to finish what they are doing. But whichever way it is, this 5 years removes every excuse. If you fail, you can't ask us for a second term.
Well, and I'll come to you.
Alfred, I mean, this is a non-controversial matter to the extent that, President Mahama himself will not be a beneficiary of it, and therefore it's a proposal going forward to assume that we should look at it on the basis of the fact that maybe more time will be needed for the president to kind of execute his mandate. I mean, it's very, on the face of it, what is there to debate? But the tendency, to agree with that raises question that why not 6? Why not 7? You can increase it, and the same argument will be valid.
Excellent.
So, if 4 is what we have agreed on, let's stick with it, right? The conversation about appointment and why that would take 1 year, 2 years, in your second term you are doing this, your third term you are doing this. If you extend it, the same things will apply. So the point is that we, at some point, have to settle. And we have settled so far in this Fourth Republic to do 4. So let's stick with the 4. Let's stick with the 4. In fact, our Constitution, which borrows generously from the American system, they've tried that for how many years now? And they've stuck with it. So this argument that we increase it, for me, is one of the things that we do here to try to fix a problem that doesn't exist. 4 years, do what it is you have to do. If you can't finish it, you ask for another 4, you finish that other 4, you are done.
Okay.
And you see, we also have argued here on other matters that governance is a continuum. And Prof is saying that, some of the things, if you want to fix, it takes time and all of that. Government doesn't end when you leave office. It doesn't end. Akufo-Addo left the presidency. Government business continues. President Mahama is in place. When he leaves, business will continue. So if there's something you are fixing, that's why there's administration. And so other people come, they take the briefing, they inherit it, they advance. Is that not what Lawyer Kwebu is arguing about Sedida's payment? Even though the logic doesn't stand, he maintains that is okay, that you commit me to a defective agreement and I execute. He said, yeah, I should do it. You understand? So the point here we're making is that this five-year application is just putting us in a tailspin. We are not going anywhere. Nobody is going to win anything. No, there's no gain substantively for the state by saying let's do 5. It's much ado about nothing. Let's focus on what we have. It's not broken. Let's continue with this. I think that we shouldn't distract ourselves by engaging this rather needless invitation to increase to 5. 4 is working. We are even struggling to hold people accountable for the 4.
Yes.
Then you are going to increase it.
Now, the point that Mr. Bento makes about if you have 5, then it will give the citizens enough to, as it were, pass a verdict on your performance. For instance, that it could possibly increase 1 term presidents, because then you can't come back and say that, you know what, I didn't have enough time, which has been the refrain of the many.
That refrain is not based on any empirical occurrence. We've had 1 term presidents in 4 years, haven't we? We've had.
In the Fourth Republic.
In the Fourth Republic?
Oh, yes.
Who?
President Mahama was a 1 term president.
Oh, he died.
President Mahama.
Hey, Mahama.
Yes.
No.
President Mahama is a 1 term president. Which why he's come for secretary. I mean, what's your confusion? What's your confusion about that? What's your confusion?
So I'm talking about the 8 years.
What's the confusion?
President Mahama continued.
notoriety for confusing everyone.
No, he's right.
But I'm saying
so
that
8 years.
He won an election. He won an election. Yes, he won an election.
But my point is correct.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't disagree with you. So the point is that if you are saying 5 will increase, that it's okay. But that point is a future expectation you want us to have. There is no basis that it will happen.
Right.
Are you okay?
Sure.
There's no basis that will happen. Because then you can make it that maybe 6 is better than 5. And then maybe probably 10. Or let's have 1 term of 8 years. Okay? We can have that. So for me, I don't think that there's anything here to look for, anything serious. And I think Cabinet, probably in considering it, maybe made an argument or probably saw that it won't break anything to make it 5. But I think that what we have now doesn't break anything. So let's keep it.
Okay.
Venturing on those expedition of making 5 and all that just disturb everybody. There are core matters in this work by the Constitutional Review Committee which are substantial. Let's focus on those. This one, I don't see why we should waste our time in processing it moving forward.
Thank you. Lawyer Tamaklo?
I am, at the personal level, I think the 1992 Constitution has served us well. Trust me. In fact, if you look at all the Constitution before this one, none of them went beyond 10 years. Yes. There must be something so unique about this particular 1992 Constitution to have survived for 30-something years. The Constitution done under Nkrumah did.
Are more vigilant.
So I'm coming. Nkrumah's Constitution didn't go beyond 10 years. Subsequent Constitution, some 2 years, a few. Yeah. But this particular Constitution has done 32 plus years. There must be something unique about it. Look, I just opposed this conversation with the U.S. Constitution. 250 years, correct?
Yes, and they've been amended.
Only 25 amendments. Yes. If you look at presidential term limits, presidential term itself, 4 years has been what it is. In fact, if you look at the record, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, I think, was able to do 1932 to 1940. In fact, he's the only U.S. president to have done 4 terms continuous. Based on him,
he didn't complete the 4th term.
But obviously, but he did.
He was on path.
Yeah, he did 4 terms. He won 4 consecutive elections. Eventually, based on that, you notice that in 1947, the U.S. introduced, by way of amendment, the 22nd Amendment to limit term limits to only 2 terms. The reason why I'm bringing this history is that 4 years has served many, many jurisdictions. But and in this country, there had been conversation differently on this matter. And I remember when President Kufuor said, instead of 448, give 7 once.
Charlie, it's a view.
No, I'm just coming. I'm saying that I have never been president. President Kufuor was president. Just when he's leaving, with the benefit of hindsight, he felt that 7 years continuous, you finish, you pack bag and baggage, you go, no problem. There had been another school of thought that let's do 5, 5, 10. That one, when you finish, no complaint. You carry yourself, you go. Now, we've also come to the point where today, the government's position on the work of the Constitution Review Commission is that there are some parts of the recommendation that are accepted, there are others that are not. You see, there are 2 schools of thought. That a constitution review of this nature should not be executive-led. And the view has always been that it can come across as self-serving. In the specific case, President John Dramani Mahama is not saying that I want to benefit from the 5 years. So the question of self-serving may be completely taken away, because then there wouldn't be any basis to make that claim.
I don't think anybody's made that claim here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, nobody.
It's good that claim, has not, because it won't happen.
Right.
The other thing too is that I looked at reducing the year at which you can be a president from 40 to 35.
Yes.
Progressive. Progressive. Because there's a young man in France now. No, not Macron. The guy who, from all indication, is likely to win.
Macron.
Yes, exactly.
But can Senegal.
Yes, but can you imagine? Jerry Rawlings, when he came onto the scene, I think 32, right?
You know Nkrumah's age at the time?
Exactly.
Before he was 28, at the time he was appointed
Deputy
minister. Yeah.
And so there is evidence on record that persons within that age bracket have demonstrated industry, the ability to hold a country together. And so the age conversation, I don't think is a problem. If there is no limit in terms of what you can, Donald Trump is 80, right?
Yes.
There should be an upper limit.
80 years.
Some said, I don't think so. It should be, well, not the Paul Biya.
So
Paul
But the
Biya.
invitation allows for that to be. If you don't want a ceiling,
So there's a lower limit in our case.
yeah, but there's not an upper limit. Yeah.
No upper limit.
I don't think there's an upper limit anywhere.
There's another one that I saw, maybe 80. I beg.
But he's LBG is introducing something that is not a
I think it's important.
It's a better proposal because that is why we have problems across Africa.
Yes. There's an upper limit.
Yes, we should have an upper limit.
LG, you are done.
So if you are 70,
He's introducing something else.
So
He's introducing a different subject.
So okay.
He's introducing a different subject.
I thought it was a comment on the entire issue.
No, the entire, we also have things to say.
Oh, then you limited yourself. You are giving this.
Is it LBG has abandoned your quarterback?
This is political science. Leave it to the political science professor. How are you going all over the place?
This is not law. It's not law.
My point is governance and law. So I strongly believe that limiting the year to 5 years, that's the government's position.
Right.
Having consulted widely, and I know that this is not just a product of one person sitting in a room. I'm aware of several meetings.
That doesn't,
several meetings.
It doesn't compare with that people's consultation.
That
cabinet consultation is limited.
That culminated to this point. I believe that we've gotten to a point. This is the position, or like government white paper on the recommendation.
It's a position paper.
And it is white paper, and it is what it is.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And just 1 minute on this one, on increasing the constituencies to from 276 to 300.
It's a terribly bad idea.
Okay.
We don't need that many people making laws. And in any case, the experience has been, today we have 275.
276, yeah.
More than half of them are serial, either latecomers or absentees. We are not getting value for money from the parliamentarians we have. Too few of them are showing up, too few of them are actually doing the work. In fact, many of them have converted themselves to district chief executives, doing roads and things. And the DCs rather have become anonymous. We don't need 300. It's too expensive. And I don't think that we are getting good value for that.
276 to 300, no?
I'm yet to be convinced. Maybe when we advance more arguments, we'll see.
Convinced about what?
But the one I feel
not.
very revulsive is the nomination of 5 persons. The president will choose.
I agree with you totally. It's a terrible decision.
Yeah, very terrible. JM, this thing. But we've
just
been
let
on
them
this
vote.
debate for long. It's like it's losing touch. Look, open it. The people will decide who wants to file his nomination. It can't
which
be
one?
any.
Is it the
MMDC? Yes. How will the president choose our mayors for us?
But was it not the recommendation that was made by the Constitutional Review Commission?
No. Yeah, Fiajo did something similar, close to. All we are saying is that it should just be open. Yes. Open it. Anybody who wants to contest, let the person contest on non-partisan lines. Simple. You see, this thing is
I agree with him, but this
like the
partisan
way
or non-partisan,
Akufo-Addo lost.
If they want to do partisan, let them do it.
You say legacy term, and then you're giving us you choose mayors for that. Then you might as well just keep it. Keep it. Don't give us anything like that.
Thank you. On this.
On the
yes. 276 to 300.
It's a pool of 5.
No.
You pick 5 people for us.
If you just keep it. If you want to just keep it.
Leave it and let the people do it.
We should go to American
Thank you.
style.
Exactly. Simple. It should go. When it's done, we'll decide.
Imagine Anyagba being a DC.
Yes, but that's the point. Okay, so please, 1 minute. You see what he just said? One of the things. Can I have a minute?
Let me hear
one of the things.
Asked a specific question. You would have failed if
you are mad. It's not an examination.
I want to listen to one person. Please.
Imagine for whatever is worth.
Yes.
Richard Anyagba.
And then let me answer him with 1 minute.
The elected DC for Ketu South.
Yes. Let me answer.
With President Mahama as president.
Yes.
See, you know the meaning of sabotage.
No. Good faith. They won't have, see, many jurisdictions have what he's talking about. That's one. Number 2. No. Please.
No, I'm saying what light-hearted.
Okay. He says it's light-hearted, but I want to make the very serious point. One of the things we have lamented in this country about is the winner-takes-all syndrome.
Exactly.
One of the ways you diffuse the winner-takes-all syndrome is to have elections at the district level. So you can have a situation where power is therefore split, devolved. The president can be in one party, the district chief executive to another party. You know what will happen? When there's a local problem, they will catch that person. Instead of everything going to the president, and then DCs today, they are all looking at the president, they're not working. It is extremely important that we elect our DCs and MCs. And I agree with Martin. If the president is going to choose 5 people, he should just appoint them. Leave it and let people just vote for their DCs.
But democracy is a majority decision.
Amongst all the proposals,
let me hear from Zangba.
So you see, that 300 thing, whatever
the consensus is increasing from 276.
If whatever they used to write it, they should erase it. They should erase it. I mean,
still stay at 276.
Yeah. I think we should.
Started from 100, and now we are doing 276.
Because there was a mistake in the constitution.
You see, what we need to do. Because in my own constituency, there's debate that the constituency is too large. Land space.
Which constituency is this?
Ketu South. Covering it is large, and so therefore there's invitation that we divide it, so that will be part of the 300 that is going to be now cut apart and all of that. Then we should move from this land demarcation to population, right? So that we look at population to determine. So we can keep it at, now we agree 276, keep it there, and use population to adjust the boundaries. Exactly. That's a better proposition than just increasing. Now, who told you that if we increase to 300, there will be no time for us to take it to 305? or 310. So
So
they
you
should
think
erase
that
it.
we should limit it?
Yes, they should peg it where it's at and then use population to
Back to
define
100.
it. That's, I think, is
All
a
right.
better way
Thank
to.
you.
No, but you see, the whole process of this Constitution Review Commission's work and even the committee's work comes as a result of extensive public consultation.
Yes.
Okay. And so if the generality of the good people of Ghanaians are saying that this should be the way out, I think that we should also see a certain merit in it in the light of the thought process that may have gone into. This is not a recommendation of H. Kwesi Prempeh. Okay, it's a recommendation coming as a result of extensive public consultation. And so if the people of Ghana says that we want our constituencies to be capped at 300, I mean, how do we sit here to say that we are wiser than all of them? I think that if that is their recommendation, so be it. But a broader issue again that I want, because now all of you are smuggling issues of interest that you want to talk about, is what I want to bring up again, as you brought up. Whether, so if the executive president says, I agree, what does it mean? If the executive president says, I don't agree.
Will it go to a referendum?
What does it mean? And then also, I've read portions of the report and I've seen that.
Of course, there'll be a referendum following.
I've read portions of the report and I've seen that in the cases where the executive had contrary opinion, they made proposals that, oh, we think that this may not be right, but let's look at it from this other angle. And I'm asking myself, so who would review the contrary proposals and then take a final
But that's the
decision?
referendum.
Yeah,
The referendum will referendum
well,
will
so in that case, I'm sure we are on course. But the bit that must also be re-echoed is the fact that, look, this whole process was not an elite prescribed process. It was a process whose result is born out of extensive public consultation.
Right.
And so if the good people of Ghana says this is what we want, then we should be careful in our commentary. Otherwise, we create an impression as if we are more sensible than the people.
It's 30 minutes after
Are we not
to
part
the
of
top
the
of the hour, and so
Are
our
we-
key point
are
is
we-
brought to you
are we
by
not
Bank of
part of
Africa
it?
and Gassem. And also, my outfit this morning is by Colgra Clothing. Is the best version of you. You can contact them for this and many others you see me wear on Key Point on this number. Take note: 026 055 8056. 026 055 8056. I'll be back shortly after this quick break. The Supreme Court, in a landmark ruling earlier in the week, outlawed this delegate system that Mr. Yangba and also Lawyer Digital Maklo's party have been doing. And so what happens next? We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
is now.
Points is brought to you by Bank of Africa, GASEM.
Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. A number of your messages. Simon, who is the president of the the parliamentary press corps, says, "Good morning. I absolutely disagree with Lawyer Kofi Bento on his comment that many MPs are serial latecomers. The work of parliament is not only done on the plenary. The meat of parliamentary work is at the committee level. The problem, however, is that the leadership of parliament should make sure committee sittings, I beg your pardon, should be after parliament adjourns or before the sitting of parliament. Sometimes we should desist from, he says, attacking them." Thank you.
Reports.
Yes, this is from the president of the parliamentary press corps. This one here from Samuel Bloodpain Dansuman says, "Good morning. My understanding is that the 5-year also goes with a one-term presidency."
No.
It says also, let's look at Rwanda's model, 7-year renewable.
What is this, cousin?
Okay, thank you.
7 years,
All right then. Okay, this one, Alfred, good morning. The challenge we are facing as a country, our institutions are weak. It's not giving president 5 years, giving politicians even 100 years. They will continue to give excuses. The 4 years is good for any president, you see. Thank you very much for your message this morning. The Supreme Court, in a landmark decision, outlawed this delegate system where political parties identify people as delegates and they elect presidential candidates, executives of the party, parliamentary candidates for the larger majority of the membership of the party. The Supreme Court says every party member in good standing should be allowed to vote to determine who becomes a presidential candidate, parliamentary candidate, and an executive like First National Vice Chair that Richard Anyagba wants to be for the NPP. And in fact, this position was endorsed by government, and in at least based on what the Attorney General said in presenting the government position on this constitutional review. It says the committee recommended an amendment to Article 55 to require every registered political party to afford its members in good standing equal voting rights in the selection of its parliamentary and presidential candidates. The government has accepted this recommendation. Zayagba, start off with you, because this one, you are seeking to be first vice chair.
Yeah. Well, so fortunately,
you have 1 year actually to do this.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, it won't apply to
your election.
Yeah, the election of party.
I think it says presidential.
Presidential and parliamentary. Yes. That's what it applies to. But Alfred, I mean, I think this is us doing too much again. Honestly, I respect the senior citizens who went there. Dr. Nyaho Tabaklo, my father, I respect him. Professor Frimpong Boateng, an accomplished citizen of this country, and Madame Christine Noama, yes, also a distinguished citizen of this country. So this is not about them. It is about how we make our elections or our democracy work. So I'll be talking from that standpoint, not really to pass a verdict on what they have done. But you see, for me to begin with, Article 55(5), I don't see any conflict with it in relation to what we do as a party. And I think that the way we operate is quite the same as the NDC does. So when I say about MPP, literally I'm saying about the NDC's process. He says that what? Let me just read that so we can have context. Alfred, if you have it, you can read it. But I can just open to it quickly. I think 55, the internal processes of the political party must conform to democratic principles. Yes. So now, what is the democratic principle here? That is not being complied with. Because our processes fully complies with the democratic process that is as at play when the state's own elections come to bear.
So 1 man, 1 vote.
Yes, 1 man, 1 vote. Yes, principally that's what it is. When we start our process, our reorganization process, starts at the polling station. Okay? The polling station people select 7 of their own members to represent them. 1 as chairman, as women organizer, youth organizer, secretary, election, communication. They select them, 7. Now, which the practice or the principle there is that you 7 take our powers, exercise it on our behalf. That's the principle. That's the democratic principle we're after in 55.5. That has been satisfied. So now, the power vested in those 7 is to be exercised in selecting the parliamentary candidate, in selecting the presidential candidate, among other administrative roles that has been given to them. So where is the conflict with 55.5? It's not there. Now, when you say that all of the members of that polling station should vote, what you are inviting the parties to do is to do direct democracy. It's not representative democracy.
Well, that's essentially what the court wants you to
But
do.
what we are doing, what currently obtains, is representative democracy, which is what we select our MPs to go to parliament. We all in the constituency vest our power in them to make a decision, to approve the Supreme Court justice on our behalf. Why are we not invited that all of us should vote to approve the Supreme Court justice? Why are we not all?
Athenian democracy.
Yes,
And that one too.
yes, and it's not sustainable, right? It's not sustainable. That's why we moved away from that to do representative. So what the Supreme Court is saying is really their ruling actually makes the system we operate that appoints them illegal, because what they have invited the political parties to do is at variance with what elects them to go to the Supreme Court with the power to review the Constitution. So this whole thing here is much ado about nothing.
I see. Well, they've
On
given you
the
1 year.
principle of 55.5.
Right. They've given you 1 year to comply.
But I'm
What are you
saying
going to
that,
do?
So, we'll get to that one. So I'm just saying there wasn't any problem to begin with. Okay, somebody was not satisfied, they feel so and so. Now, the key thing I take from the petition that went, or the application that went for Supreme Court for review, is the presence of money, okay, and the thing that by opening it up, that will solve the money problem. Okay, so not necessarily that the 7 individuals there, the 9 individuals for the NDC is undemocratic.
Right.
Now, the question is that if you have problem with money in our politics, are there not better ways to deal with it than to say that go back many years, many centuries, and go and do direct democracy? You have other methods. So the laws are there. I don't believe in monocracy. I don't believe in it. I think that it dilutes the process. It can guide democracy to arrive at the wrong individuals to serve the people honestly and to promote the welfare of society. So I believe in the principle of dealing with money. But this ruling doesn't cure that problem. I think that that's the basis for which I see that really we're just inviting ourselves to do the impossible. Now, on the key issue, that finally for you, Alfred, the money bit of it. Now, the Supreme Court has put a financial burden on the political parties. And that burden, insofar as I know, I mean, their full ruling hasn't come out, it's an unfunded mandate. You cannot commit me to a cause that you haven't given me money to execute. And political parties are not necessarily rich organizations. We survive on membership dues and very limited
Do your
sources.
members even pay dues at all?
Well, it's work in progress, right?
Okay.
It's work in progress. So this unfunded mandate from the Supreme Court, I don't know how they expect the the political parties to fund it. Maybe LDG can give us some further insight on how we are going to fund.
Cede it to me. This one you have nothing to say. Cede it to me.
I thought the matter. That's the thing with NDC. We disagree and.
Oh, so Prof is NDC now.
Prof, I work with NDC government, so I don't care if you refer to me as NDC.
And then all along you come here and act like you are a neutral person, otherwise you are NDC. Oh my God!
They say
good revelation.
Good revelation to be a good. One day it will back.
The NDC is a criminal organization.
It's not one day
I wanted me to be MPP. But you have to agree. No,
it's okay. When you call me MPP,
identify properly.
You forget.
So we know how to treat
it. Okay. I mean, to the substantive matter, I think that the decision by the court has its own merits and demerits. There are two schools of thought on this matter. But this is the decision. And you notice that even the Supreme Court could not have a unanimous decision.
Yes, 5-2.
5-2. It was not unanimity.
Clearly.
Clearly what it means is that even for the Lord Justices of the Supreme Court, two different views edged strongly on their minds. A 5-2 decision. In fact, two of the justices actually believe that the case not to, succeed. And, obviously, as Director Legal, I had to review the position of the party on this matter. If you look at the jurisprudence involving participatory democracy in the US, UK, and others, you would notice that, for instance, in the US, if you win popular votes and you lose the Electoral College votes, it will be a difficult. I think Gore, was it?
Bush versus Gore.
Yes, Bush versus...
Even Hillary Clinton.
Clinton versus...
Yes, exactly. Because Hillary won popular, but lost the Electoral College vote, and Trump became president.
Yeah.
That's representative democracy. The electors, they would decide ultimately what happens. And if you also look, you will see that states are allotted certain number of Electoral College votes. It is also representative democracy. And that's even for the President of the United States of America. All these positions were urged on the court. The court took a view that, and I strongly believe that, you see, this case was fought within a particular environment. Remember that the suit was filed immediately after Ayaso the by-election, the fallout of the NDC primaries. That's what animated this whole conversation, resulting in the lawsuit. And so I believe that condition created an impression that the delegate system supports or instigates
support wrongdoing.
And so you could see a certain edge. And my understanding is that at the Supreme Court, one of the views that was urged strongly had to do with Article 33.5, the responsibility to fight corruption. And so to the extent that the court felt that you have a system that deliberately gives credence to pervasive corruption, the view has been expressed that we have a significant electoral laws that should fight that corruption bit, and not necessarily. There are two schools of thought. That if you open the delegate system, the same goodies will be shared.
Guess what?
The only thing is that it will become more expensive.
Today.
I have spoken to MPs, and the view they express is that they are now going to have two elections to fight. The internal election is going to be a general election. Cost. Then the general election, and these are the practical distances. That the general election is also going to be another general election. So these are the two. But our party, the NDC, supported the view expressed by the four eminent Ghanaians. And the Supreme Court has spoken.
Thank you. Let me do Prof.
No, so I think that... no, I want to stand and talk. Don't worry.
What's happening?
The man is lecturing.
No, I think that you see when I heard the why are you laughing? when I heard the ruling, I was wondering whether suddenly representation is not part of democracy. Democracy used to be practiced in its classical form, and then we've moved away from the classical practice of democracy, where people acted directly,
Athenian societies,
to representative democracy. And if we are in an era of representative democracy, then I was expecting the Supreme Court to have appreciated the fact that the delegate system is one form of representation. Yeah. Generally, there are four main types of representation. You have the trusteeship, you have the mandate model, you have the resemblance model, and then you have the delegates model. Now,
Poly 101.
Yeah, this is introduction to political science. And please allow me. That's why I'm standing.
Yes, yes.
You see, you operate the mandate model of representation. If you go sell an idea to a constituency and then they give you the power to go and govern, then you focus on the ideas you sold to them. You focus on delivering on them. If you are doing so, you have the mandate. You're operating the mandate model. The resemblance model of representation says that a people who represent the features of a larger group of people to which they belong are able to serve as better representatives. So you are saying that if you want somebody, for instance, to go represent a visually impaired group, you need a visual. You should be yourself a visually impaired person. That's true. Then third, you have the trusteeship. Okay, a trustee is a representative who operates on the assumption that he is an expert in an area. Mm-hmm. And so when he's taking a decision on behalf of the larger group to which he belongs, he necessarily must not consult them because he's an expert in an area. Then you come to a delegate. A delegate essentially is actually expected not, quote and unquote, not to have a mind of his own. Yes, he completely typifies the views and features and positions of the larger group of people to which he belongs to. So a delegate, as he said, may have been sent to go and take
they go and negotiate on their own.
So I'm saying they have been sent. So if you are if you are a delegate, you are a true representative of the people who sent you. But unfortunately, the delegates of today,
they negotiate for themselves.
They negotiate on monetary terms and whatever, and that's
they
how
watch the TV alone. They don't share with their
and that's how come then the Supreme Court, I'm sure, have taken this decision just to ensure that people are not influenced by money. But the point is, you do not, in trying to solve a problem, create another problem. It's like they're throwing away the baby with the bad water. I think that we cannot have direct elections of the people.
Maybe the Supreme Court could have given the political party the opportunity to decide.
I think that we should not burden the political parties to be selecting leaders through direct elections, and then also when it comes to even their own internal elections, we want all of them to do it.
But the state should fund it.
Okay, we don't have time. The state should fund it. It creates an impression as if representation is not important.
The state should fund it.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to continue the lecture. I beg you, hear me on this one.
See, in a minute, please.
Our constitution says that political parties should be run on democratic principles.
Yes.
Because we don't have time, I'm going to go straight to this. When you do the direct democracy as they are doing, sometimes it breaches democratic principles.
Even
Two things. Yeah. Because you can have a majoritarian situation where there's a tyranny of the majority. For instance, if you have a big population which is homogeneous against one thing, and then that's why we have electoral college systems. In the US, for instance, one of the reasons why they don't want to break from the electoral college is that if they did, California alone will be electing the president.
Right.
Now, so if you implement a majoritarian system like we have done here, you are actually breaching some democratic principles. There are so many other things that we need to say about this, but I think you realize that NDC and NPP are agreed that this decision is bad. In the implementation, we will learn a lot of bitter lessons.
Indeed. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it. And thank you for coming. We're back again next week. Have a good weekend. I am Alfred Okansi. Thank you.